We're live. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry, Mike.
Very good. He went right in there.
All right. Minutes. Guys had a chance?
Yeah, I wasn't here, so.
Make a motion to accept the minutes for Thursday,
Second.
August 24th. All those in favor?
I wasn't here, so I don't know.
Kind of hard to.
Yeah.
Did
But I wasn't here.
Did you watch the video?
No. I didn't watch the video. I never watched the video.
Okay.
I don't. I just.
No, that's fine. I just want to. There's actually I'm bringing something up that's somewhat related, so I'll just.
Okay.
So I'll have to. Well, I need to give you the history then.
Okay.
That's fine. Paperwork.
All right, I have 3 appointments.
These are. So this is Rebecca Batchelder for the alternate budget committee member.
Yep.
Gail for tax collector. We haven't done that yet.
Because her commitment. Because we commit, when we do the commitment, we're going to commit the taxes to her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all. So hers wouldn't run out like everybody else's in June because she's still on the last tax year. A tax collector should go by commitment, not by.
Oh, okay.
So that's why.
Gotcha. Well, good. You know that better than me. It's fine. Cynthia Fontenot for the cemetery committee. So those are the 3 that were, which we made. Well, so Cynthia, we already made a motion.
Yes, I read it.
And Rebecca, we already made a motion before, so we're just signing these.
Yes.
But Dale, we didn't make a motion then,
No.
correct? So I need to make a motion that we
Appoint.
appoint Dale Fisk as the tax collector,
Yep.
effective until August 31st, 2018.
Yep.
All those
Second.
in favor? All those in favor? And we can sign all of these.
And then we have 2 applications for the planning board.
Oh, that's good.
So these are planning board, which has 2 alternate positions, so it's full now with the 5 members, but they have 2 alternate positions open.
Mm-hmm.
So this would fill them. So this is for Paul Peace.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the restaurant owner down at Riverside. And for Daniel Boyven, Gateway Auctions.
Mm.
So I don't see why not for alternates.
Absolutely.
Alternates are basically 1-year terms.
Mm-hmm.
So I make a motion to appoint Paul Peace Sr. and Daniel Boyven for 1-year alternate positions for the planning board.
Second.
All those in favor? Can I have those back?
Thank you. There's a request for time off slip and then a training request as well.
Yeah, I think I have a request for time off in here somewhere. So I have one for Mike for 9/5, 9/7, and 9/8. So that's basically vacation for next week. So which is Labor Day week, or the week after, or including Labor Day, so I guess Monday's a holiday. And that'll be Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Oh, yeah. And who's covering, or what's going on?
Jen is covering 9/5 and 9/8. Don't show anybody covering 9/7.
So by covering, does that mean she's gonna sit in his office?
I think she just covers calls and stuff like that. And
Okay.
take messages and that kind of stuff. Again, I mean, we really don't have an alternate per se. So it's vacation. He gets vacation, so right. I mean,
I don't know which one's getting my finger black, but I think it's that one.
You guys in favor of approving this?
Yep.
Yep. Guys want to be done. Poll date is 8/31/17. And this is for Dale. This is well in advance. I don't know. This is June 4th to June 15th of 2018.
June 4th to June 15th. What about the election? Huh?
I think it's because it's something that's scheduled already, I believe.
It's probably
So that's
something
why she
personal,
quit.
which is why she's doing it so far.
The election's in
Right.
May.
Which is why she's doing it so far.
Not necessarily.
Well,
We haven't
I'm
voted on
assuming
that
with-
yet. We haven't voted on that yet.
this is our third year.
I mean, office will be covered by Rebecca and Kathy, but we can ask her. I mean, again, it's vacation, but I'm assuming she probably has something specific to do it this far in advance. So, but I don't know. You're right. I don't know when. Can it be done without her on for elections?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As long as everyone is trained and,
Right.
you know.
Well, she's coming in tonight to talk about postage meters, so we can ask her about this if you want.
Sure.
Or are we gonna sign and just make sure things get done?
Well, I mean, you know, if
I mean,
it
I mean,
needs
I'm
to
not
be
gonna-
done, I'm
yeah.
not,
Yeah, I mean,
I just, you know, wanna
No, I
make
hear you.
sure there's plenty of time to train whoever's going to be here
right.
to handle.
Yeah, I mean, they should be, it's 8 months away, so. This is.
Do we have a calendar up and running yet? Remember we talked about when people are off, so we'll know where to
No,
look.
do you?
I put it on the calendar in my office, I don't know.
Just cause it's kinda hard.
Do you have a calendar in there that's like a hard copy calendar that we can look at to see who's in and out and, okay. And this is for both of you?
Yes, Jordan and I for the GA.
For the GA in Buxton, which,
When is
There's
that?
no fee for that, that's the
yeah, it doesn't say when.
7th, I believe.
Of October. What
September.
Well, date of
September.
training, no, it's 9/7? 9/7.
day is that?
It's a Thursday.
Not that it matters.
What does that mean? That's Thursday.
I think that's a good idea for you two to be.
Yes, that's that
And it's
Thursday.
gonna be Jerry's, the one that's.
Oh, Jerry. Yeah.
What time is it?
I believe it's an all-day event, I think he said 9:30, I can double check on the times, but
You guys, how far away is Buxton? Buxton's not that far
I
away,
have
right?
no idea.
So you here for that evening for
20 miles.
reading? Cause that's a Thursday.
I should be, yeah,
Yeah.
I should be able to come back.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not gonna go past.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
20 miles.
What?
Buxton.
No, Buxton is like by Hollis, Standish, Buxton. What?
I don't believe him.
It is not
About an
10
hour.
minutes.
An hour?
Yeah,
It's about an hour, cause you gotta go back roads.
yeah, it's not like it's,
Yeah.
You can't get there from here.
no.
It's like most of Maine.
Alright, the last thing I have is the new general assistance ordinance appendices, APD. I just got them and I've got them all attached.
Right, and that's the one that we just adopt.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but you have to post it as a public hearing, don't you?
I don't know.
Yes.
So
Because
before you
the, yeah. Cause so if the public wants to comment on it, yeah. Did you get paperwork with it?
I have that packet there. It all came together. It all came in an email, so there was just an attachment.
I mean, I've never.
Yes, it would, we always had to post it because the public, even though we're the ones that adopt it, the public still had right to comment on, you know, put their input if they think they should go up or down or whatever.
If what should go up or down?
Like for what we're adopting, for what we pay for different things.
But if we don't adopt it, then it stays at the previous ones?
Well, no, I'm just saying that we can, in certain things, we can go up higher, correct?
I can double check the.
I believe we
manual,
can, yeah.
Because I'm not familiar with that.
So you have to, it has to be like a public hearing, you have to
Okay.
be posted
That's fine.
and people can comment.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
And
We
then
can,
we can adopt it.
we can get smart before the public hearing too.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
so. Want to do on the 14th
Okay.
for that Thursday?
That, we're supposed to be going to that class, is that still on? The
Is that on
elected
the 14th?
officials
Oh, I probably.
in
wasn't.
Portland?
I probably wasn't. Is that on that 14th? Is that on that 14th?
Yeah. I was gonna ask, cause Jordan, I think, signed us up, didn't he? I was gonna ask him if he'd heard, if they have enough people, so sometimes they
Well, let's do
don't.
it for the 21st then.
Okay.
If we'll have to, as we get closer, we'll have to, maybe we schedule a different date for that week, depending on where we're at for things, but.
Yeah,
if
cause
we're gonna
that's
be
like
gone
a
the
4:30 to
Yeah.
8:30 thing or something.
Okay.
So, we may do it on a Wednesday if we got work to do, or, cause you're available on Wednesday afternoons, and we can do, you know, whatever.
Okay.
But let's do the public hearing for that on the 21st.
Okay.
I think that's open.
Yes, it is.
And that gives us plenty of time to get up to speed. You're early, ma'am.
Oh,
That's okay.
just ignore me.
It's okay. Do we have any other paperwork?
That's it.
Cool. Quick question. We had your time off for June, so planning ahead, huh?
Yeah, because I got a vacation booked. Paid
Oh,
for.
where you going?
On a cruise, with my family.
Okay. What about elections? How's that gonna play
I'm
out?
not sure what the dates are gonna be, but my deputy is gonna be, if she has to handle it on her own, we'll have everything, done ahead of time and she can manage it, so,
Does she have
She's
all,
done- she's
does
done
she have,
elections.
does she have all the training for that, Rebecca?
yes.
Yeah.
And she's taking more training in October,
Okay.
for state elections and, she'll be good, she'll be fine.
Alright.
We have a good crew of election officials in place.
And then you're here for your postage meter.
Yeah. I have some little packets of information for you about it. I don't know if you folks already sold on the idea that we could use a postage meter. But, there's some good reasons why I think we could benefit from having a postage meter. We get a discounted postage, save 3 cents on every first class letter. You don't have to pay somebody time to run out to the post office to deliver our mail or pay mileage. We also can get the exact postage on everything. Sometimes you put 2 stamps when you really only need 1 1/4 stamps.
Right.
So there's just a cost savings. You don't get anything returned because you didn't put enough postage on something. Certified mailings we can do right in-house without having to get out of the Alfred post office. We can just put them right through the machine. So there's I think it's an efficiency thing. But I just made a little list of comparing Pitney Bowes and Neopost. It looks like they're the 2 primary providers. So I compared offers I got from both companies But I also went on the listserv and talked to other towns to see who has what and who likes what better. It just seems Neil Post is far and away superior as far as customer service, pricing, the value with the ink impressions per cartridge, the cost of the ink impressions. You can get them from W.B. Mason, you don't have to get them from Pitney Bowes, like with the Pitney Bowes machine. We got a good deal, 6 free months and $16.75 a month for the rental of the machine from Neil Post. So, what else do we have on here, looking good? Oh, just what a list of what some of the other towns have said.
Right, you said you talked to her and you got some extra time or something like that?
Yeah, she said instead of the $19.95 a month, she could do $16.75 and give us 6 months free. And you can actually talk to someone. I said to her, what if we run into an issue, we have a problem? We call her, the salesperson, directly, where Pitney Bowes, you can't even call anybody. So customer service is a concern too with that.
And how do you load the money on, do you have to go on the internet to do that?
Yeah, it's electronically, yeah.
So it's hooked in it's hooked into our,
Yeah, we'll run it with an Ethernet cable,
do we have a,
so we don't have to have a separate phone line or anything.
right, do we have a Ethernet port for the center aisle? Just thinking logistics.
Right here where I keep, no, I don't think there is one there. Yeah, where are we gonna put it?
Yeah. Cause I would, can you put like, passwords, so when someone, it can be spread by department who's,
You can do up to 5 departments. Yeah, you can, but it costs extra. If you want it set up like that, it costs extra. So if you know which department did which postage,
I think you should.
Well, we do, it's really code enforcement and.
Well, why wouldn't everyone use it? It's gonna be cheaper.
No, as far as keeping track of departments though.
Right, like the fire department,
Right.
EMS, whatever they're called.
How much do they really mail out though?
I don't know, planning board.
Planning board does stuff. I'm just thinking about as far as keeping track of.
Well, because it's not fair that the town office pays for everybody's postage.
Yeah,
so.
no, I agree. But then we have to.
costs you an extra $3 a month if you want 5 department accounting. So that's a pretty good value.
I mean, the town office, to me, this code enforcement is the town office. I hate how all that's separated, but that's just my personal opinion.
No, I don't disagree. I mean, we go to budgets, I'm already gonna talk to you about combining budget committee and all those committees into government, so that's,
Planning board, town office, I mean, the planning board, I guess.
cause the fire doesn't really send very much stuff out.
I don't know.
I can't believe they send that much. Cause all that, any kind of billing and stuff is all done third party handles all that, they don't really send anything out.
Appeals board mails.
Yeah, but that's.
Yeah, that's certified, and that's
But
also part of,
Well,
That's-
that does.
yeah, but appeals board is gonna end up being part of town government.
Yeah. Cause you're the one that does it all, right? Yeah.
Well, even though they have their own budget, again, it's just, if I have my way, I like to combine that, and rather than having a $500 budget here, a $500 budget there, when it's all part of town government. But that's a discussion for a later date. But I'm just thinking that, and planning board, what do they send out? Do they send out
Certifieds,
to who?
when they're doing a subdivision, I believe they have to
But
send out certificates.
isn't that paid by?
Well, yeah, but they still, I mean,
Have
if
to
we have
be
a
able-
postage machine, why wouldn't they use ours?
No, but I'm right, but isn't it paid,
Well, I guess. Yeah,
I mean, it's paid by the subdivision place, not, that's their fee
yeah,
that
that
pays for all
needs to
that.
be different, the fee. Yes, but does it come out of the fee or does it come out of something else? That's a whole
Well,
other thing.
Right, well, that's the accounting part of it, the fee kind of goes into a general fund and this gets absorbed and then,
I mean, if we don't want to, but then we're gonna have to put more postage money in the general government, because if no one else is gonna, if everyone's gonna do their postage here, that's fine, we don't have to separate it, but, you know,
Well, so the other thing is that, I mean, this is now, but, and we may have to suck it up this year, but in the following years, if we take their postage out of their budget and put it into general government, you follow what I'm saying? And that way, then yeah, we are paying for everybody, but we have that money, we have, so the budget doesn't go up at
well,
all.
and then, would you have a password anyway?
You still should have a password.
Well, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, if you have the 5 departments.
No, just a
No.
regular general
Just standard,
password.
I don't think so, I think anybody's used,
I'm pretty sure you can set it up for the
Yeah,
password.
I didn't ask her that if it was just one.
I think you need to, because obviously we're
Because
not
otherwise
here
somebody
all
could
the
come in
time.
here and just run off a
Well,
bunch of
at home.
stuff that's, you
Well,
know.
somebody come in and just use all our stamps too,
Well, no, cause you lock the stamps up, I hope.
oh, at night.
Well, I'm just saying, like, because there are a lot of meetings that happen here and nobody's here. I'm not saying they would, but
They
So
could.
it still makes sense.
yeah,
though.
I mean, there's people in here and there's
Okay,
no
I'll make
way
sure.
to shut them off so
Yeah,
they
it's
can't
normally
go
like a
certain
four,
places.
it's normally like a 4-digit code, just to,
Or whatever. I mean, we have Pitney Bowls and I don't know anything about it, but, and we all have a code. Every department has a code. So you can say, okay, elections.
well, that's what it would,
Cost
that's
this
what it would
much,
be
this,
five, that's
you
what
know.
the fire department is, and that's the question, is
Different
do we wanna pay for the fire department one?
Well, that might make sense too, because like elections, that comes out of a separate budget. So if you have mailings for elections.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
If you wanted to do that, yeah.
$3 a month.
Yeah, but elections is really out of general government, it's still, it's either,
But it's a
it's a
separate-
sub, it's a sub, but it's
sub,
all
yeah,
still
yeah,
part
yes.
of,
It is.
and I just don't know how much really is being mailed from the other ones that we're really spending. I agree with you that,
I don't know either. But the library, I know she sends a lot of stuff.
did she come out, send it out of here? But you're right, you're saying that she should use it. Well, then does the cost, do we somehow split the cost up between the
I
other
don't know,
departments?
cause I don't know what, we'd have to look and see what they have for postage or what they do or whatever.
Well, I'm saying, if it's $3 a month, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, for 5.
So, if we have the election, I don't think you need to, because that's really the same as general government.
It is.
But, $1 a month out of postage for somebody else, that's $12 a year. For the other departments that use the machine a lot, that save, I think that's, that way we're not paying, because then we're paying for the machine anyways. So.
We are, yeah.
So I think that, for that accounting, I think they can at least pick up that $3 somehow for that accounting.
But yeah, we can, I guess, figure that out.
Right.
We're gonna have to figure that out
Yep.
somehow, but yeah.
Yeah, so I would say, so what do you guys wanna do? You wanna go with it?
Well, I think we should.
I think it makes sense. I think it's a good deal to go with the Neopost. No, we have Neopost
Yeah,
at,
so we don't, we have Pitney Bowls.
at my office. And we're a small business and we had Pitney and we just changed over to Neopost. And Neopost is getting pretty aggressive as far as going after Pitney Bowes business. So, but everybody seems to be happy with it, so at least that, they're not.
Right,
That might change in a few years if they get too much and then they can't handle
Yep.
but right now it seems to be,
Yeah,
what most people are going towards.
Yep.
Alright, I guess I'll make a motion. Do you want to make a motion or just do a PO or? I
Well-
make a motion that we allow Dale to get a Neopost mail machine for the office, as well as a 5 department accountant.
Okay.
And that should give us passwords, as part of that, we'll have passwords, I'm sure, so that's how they figure out.
Differentiate the department.
That's all, yeah, so, you second it, all those in favor? Sounds good?
Thank you.
Think so?
I had a question. Is your deputy going to MMA? Cause I noticed it wasn't on the slip.
To
The MMA convention?
And when is that? That's September. No,
October,
October.
beginning of October.
It's the Wednesday and the Thursday. And remember we talked about the Wednesday stuff was the clerk stuff? So I just noticed she wasn't on there and I
I'm
just,
not sure, I have to look at my calendar.
okay.
Yeah.
Cause if she can go, she really should go, cause it covers, you know, dogs, ATVs, all that stuff.
Right, I understand Thursday, but Thursday, we have to have coverage in the office.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about Thursday, I was talking
Just the
about
Wednesday?
Wednesday, yeah,
Okay.
cause that's
If
close.
she's not on there, I will submit a request. And we'll get her on.
Cool. Anything else?
No.
You guys are good?
We're good. We're good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We have Nextera at 6.
Okay.
Do you know who those guys are? Just remember me. Those are the solar energy people
Oh,
that have
yeah,
a
yeah,
project.
okay, yeah.
That's there. So I put them off, and who knows? We'll see. I don't know. I mean, supposedly they're looking at a project here in town, so a private project, but you never know. So I pushed them out. So this is we're here now. So
Yeah.
so that's that. And then at 6:30 we have the chief in
Okay.
to talk.
Deputy.
Huh?
Chief and
And his NC2, both Dan's, to talk about training. You know, what we pay for, what, you know, all that kind of good stuff. Kind of go through all that. So that's what's on for the rest of the night. So I got, so we got a letter from the auditors. So this is, remember we talked about the contract or whatever, there really wasn't a contract for the years ending in 17 through 19. So it ends in 17, and so that's what this is just, they just go through their responsibilities. This is our current auditors. But basically they're kind of running without a contract, I guess, right now, so this was that, and then for 18, they're staying, and then for 19, they're going up by $250. So they were at 12.5 for 17, 12.5 for 18, and then 12,750 for 19. So, which is fine. And then we could always look to put it out to bid then. So I mean, Jordan's pretty happy with them. I think they're
Oh,
selling.
the auditor.
Yeah.
I'm thinking assessor.
No.
Oh, that's cheap. Okay, sorry. All right, yeah. No, I agree because, you know, I.
And he calls them and he's got questions or
Yeah,
responses.
no,
So yeah,
I think that's good.
I think it makes sense to. So, it only has one. It says acknowledge and agree on behalf of the town of Lebanon, Maine by, you know. So that was addressed
You
to
want a
Jordan and
motion?
myself. Yeah, I guess so. I'll make a motion to. Sets forth our understanding, acknowledge and agree on behalf to acknowledge and agree to the conditions or whatever of the for Mellons and Heath auditors. Which then there's fees.
Is that a three-year contract? No,
It's not really because 17's like already done.
okay.
So they're already kind of like into another contract, so it's less than 3 years. I mean, it's not
Okay.
really it's not a person, it's more or less an agreement that this is what they're gonna do and this is what they're gonna charge us.
Okay.
So it's not really a formal contract that we've negotiated or something like that, but, so that's why, but they just wanted to put it in writing, which makes sense. So we're acknowledged. So I make a motion to accept, I guess we could call the contract for the remainder of this 3-year term. Which is 12.5 for 17, which we're already in. Which is what we just ended in June. 18 is 12.5, and then 19 is 12,750. So
I'll second.
second, all those in favor? Can you give that to Jordan? I'm sure you can get that to him or fax it to him. All right. Yeah, we got time. I'll do that. last Thursday, Karina, who's the president of the Indian Lake Shores Association, who's the prop owner of that beach, came in. They are also in next Wednesday have a hearing with the York County Commissioners for an abatement for that same property. She was coming in to try to find out last Thursday whether or not we would add a line item or an additional tax to all the property owners, and then not have her property or the beach taxed. And that's kind of how she presented it. And I basically said, but no frickin' way. Just one, it was the premise of raising everybody's taxes.
Yeah.
And allowing somebody to not have to pay taxes. And so that's just what was, in today's conversation I had with John O'Donnell, in preparation for next Wednesday's abatement hearing with the York County Commissioners, we talked about their abatement. He said in all the towns that he does, he actually, associations like that, he doesn't actually charge them, he doesn't have them have property taxes. And the reason is, and he made it very, very clear, but it made sense to me. So essentially, properties are supposed to be assessed based on market value. Market value, if you have deeded, which they're on the deed, rights to a beach, are part of that market value. So what he's saying, and while we haven't done any sales studies for Indian Lake, if you look at the town by main revenue services, we're pretty close to 100% of market value. So we're not that far away as a town. So essentially what he's saying is the beach's taxes are already basically built into of all the other properties. So not that you have to add or tax them more. It's already part of that market value because there's a value of those deeded rights. The other way to look at it is that if she had to have a residual value of this beach, you have all these values of if you take all the values out of these deeds, what's the residual value of the beach? Not much. If you've got 80 properties that have a stake in that beach, if there's a residual, if she was to sell it, absent of all those, there's not a lot of residual value. So basically, he says that he doesn't. It's built. The price of that's built in, quite frankly, in a way. But a lot of towns have done this. He doesn't, and so it actually made sense to me. You know, and especially since we have a new assessing place that's going to be doing it, it even makes more sense going forward that it be done that way. So. There's a couple. We have a hearing coming up on Wednesday about this that they're asking, and they're asking for it to be reduced.
What are they taxed at? I don't even.
So the total tax, it's valued at $84,000, and so the total tax is $1,280 and $1,200, $1,280 and 16 cents
for the whole year.
For the whole year.
And who pays that? The association.
The association pays that, and they have no money.
Is the association everybody? So everybody gets rights to this beach that lives down there?
Everybody, that 80 some odd people have rights to the beach, but yet in their deeds there's no mention of dues. And so essentially you have an association, you have a nonprofit association that has no revenue, that has to pay taxes on it. But, you know, which has been her issue. But the way she presented it to us was, let's raise everybody's taxes. And I was like, no. That's what really said no freaking. I wasn't gonna. That just didn't make. But the way John talks about it, where it's already basically those taxes really already built into everybody else's taxes, makes a lot of sense to me, and that's how he would do it going forward. And so I'm not against that. It's up to all us, but I'm not against that. And so so basically, it solves everybody's problems. Everybody, all the beach owners that have rights, we're not raising their taxes, so they're not worried. I make her taxes go away because they're covered by that, and everybody's happy.
You mean her taxes as?
Her as in the association.
Okay,
I say
well,
her because she's the president, but it's
Okay.
the association's taxes because it's a nonprofit. It used to be another guy, David Michaud.
Mhm.
So I mean, I guess he the president of the association?
I don't know, but
Because his name is still on this care
Yeah.
of, but I believe it's Karina now.
Mhm.
But it's the Indian Lake Shores Improvement Association.
Mhm.
That's who it goes back to.
Mhm.
So it doesn't go back to a person.
So
it goes
do
back
we have
to
any other beaches that could fall under this too?
that are well? I don't know. I mean, they would have to. I don't think we do that are an association like
Yeah,
that.
I don't know, I just wondered.
Yeah, I don't think Fernal Shores is owned by Fernal Shores, so that's not. I don't think there's deeded beach rights.
So everyone that lives down there has rights,
They have rights right now. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
We could have another one on Edgecombe Road.
Is there a beach up there?
There is a beach, and everybody uses it.
But do they have deeded rights?
Do they,
And who owns the property? Is it
I have no idea.
See, that's the issue. I mean, somebody may own it and just let people.
There's a beach up there.
So I mean, that's if it's a private beach, and private land that somebody just lets
Need to
everybody
get-
use. That's fine. There's nothing. This is an association with deeded rights.
so they already applied for an abatement and got refused.
So they applied for an abatement to the previous board, and they turned them down. They denied it, which is why this was her initial one, and they denied it, and so they were trying to go from 84,000 down to 32,000 in valuation, is what they were trying to do. It originally was 42. So they were actually trying to go even lower. And I mean, they were doing obviously because they know that they don't have any money. It is fully paid right now. And so we denied it, or the previous board denied it, and so that's why I went to York County Commissioners.
So, but other towns don't do this, or?
Yeah, no, other towns, a lot of towns don't. Because again, it's already built in the market value. That's the issue. It's already built into, if I buy a property that has rights to something, that's part of that property, and so that's if there's a value to those rights, that's built into the sale price of the property. So again, if you're assessing them based on market value, which is what you're supposed to be trying to do, then those beach rights are already built into that property.
And it's in all their deeds that they have the rights?
Yeah, that whole association down there, right?
I just don't want us to do this and then only certain people get to use it, or does the association still have control of it, or, I mean, I don't know, I guess
Well,
I'm
the
not sure.
association still has control of that because that's kind of who owns that land. But that piece of property, everybody has in their deeds. I mean, Alice Caballero has the right to, even though he's got another beach, it's in his deed. So she can't control that. And again, she can't say, no, you can't. It's in his deed. So he has those rights. So again, I was told it was 80 some odd properties. I haven't verified that it's 80, but my point is, it doesn't matter whether it's 20 or whether it's 80. If it's in their deeds, then essentially it's built into their market value is what my point is. And we're only missing out. We're only losing out on $1,200 as far as revenues. But essentially, we're getting that with all those other properties in market value. So I don't, so I think the right thing to do is to abate essentially the value to zero for the beach for 16. We would I let the York County Commissioners know if we do this. This is just my thinking. You guys, we all vote on it. My thinking is we do that. We let the York County Commissioners know, or let the president of the association know we've decided to now do this. We've revisited it with advice from our contract assessor, who's the professional assessor who's doing this, and this is his recommendation, and it makes sense to me.
This is in their deed.
This is in whose deed? Each of those properties in their deed, that they have a right to that.
She didn't explain it that way last week, did she?
She kind of did, but it's in their deed that they have a right to use that beach. The problem is that there's nothing in that deed that says they have to pay dues of a certain amount.
Which doesn't make
Well, no,
sense.
if she
Well, how
would
they
have
been paying
explained
it
it
all these
last
years?
week.
Huh?
How they been paying it all?
I don't know. Well, it used to be only half, so it almost used to be
Yeah.
$600. But and I think a few people have paid dues,
Mm-hmm.
but not everybody.
Yeah.
And so, how do you get people to pay
Because they have,
voluntary?
if they have rights in their
dues?
deed, then I'm not paying. It says
Well,
here I
exactly.
have rights.
Right, that's
I'm not
what
gonna
I'd
pay.
do.
Now there's something else that says, let's collect some money to keep it clean or to do what we want on the beach. That's the association.
That's something
That's
else.
theirs,
That's the
yeah.
association.
Yeah.
But in fact, the taxes really are being covered, and they have been.
Mhm.
If we're doing our assessing correctly, which
Mhm.
I feel more confident going forward that that's going to be done.
Yeah.
So I think
No,
that's,
I agree.
and so it doesn't harm the 80 people.
Mhm.
It helps the association, because what happens if she can't pay it? She foreclosed, we own it, I mean,
Yeah.
What are we gonna do with
and
it?
then we got a beach and then
We're gonna have a beach party.
well, we have a beach, but then everybody has a right to it, so we
Yeah,
can't,
I know,
even,
you're right.
we can't even sell it.
Yeah.
And then is there a liability issue?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's that whole, so this solves a lot of issues
I agree.
and kind of makes everybody happy.
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
you know, I
I
just,
agree.
that's
I
kind of how I look at it, so.
No, that makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, if I would have known that last week, I would have had a,
Well, again, it was how it was presented was,
Yeah.
to me, that's why I was dead set against it. is
I thought
because-
she wanted us to put that in the deeds.
No, it's already in there. So,
Okay.
howdy, come on in. Hey, have a seat, we're just finishing up this section and you're up next. I'm assuming
Okay.
you're from next era.
I am, absolutely. Aaron.
Aaron, sorry.
Nice to meet you.
Chaparro,
Chip.
this is Laura.
Hi.
Paul.
Aaron Svedlow. Hi, Aaron. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, so I agree. I agree.
You good?
Yeah,
Okay.
I am.
Okay, then I make a motion to abate the property taxes of Indian Lake Shores Inspection Association, account number 2615, which is map lot U10-024. And it's currently valued at $84,000, and so would be abating them $84,000 in value. So it basically bringing them down to zero.
Yep.
They don't have, so that they won't have any more property taxes on those. So that's the motion, I guess.
Second it.
All those in favor? Okay. So,
We have to do one of those papers. Oh, but you do the values. Who does the values? Do you do that or don't you do that?
well, there's a value in here. It says the abatement request is allowed in the amount of $84,000. I wrote because that's what it is.
But I
And
mean
we
to
sign
fix it in the system.
Yeah, this I think then goes to the clerk, right? I think.
Well, but we're abating it, but we're also changing the value, so she doesn't do that.
No. That probably then goes to John,
I
to the
guess.
assessor to put it into the system.
Yeah.
And we may have to do this for 17 because tonight we're going to talk about the taxes, those are already done. So we may end up having to do this again for 17 to make it consistent. So,
Okay.
but this
Yeah.
that's just a formality
Yeah.
is to
Okay.
do that. So that's that. So. Do you have Karina's number by chance?
I don't believe I do.
All right. I'll try to find it and call her tomorrow.
Are we giving this to you? I guess so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Good. That's that. Where am I at? Oh, there it is. List of stuff to do. Aaron, you're up. Next
All right.
Era Energy.
Next Terra Energy. I got some brochures for you guys just to take a look at. And here's my card. So I'm based.
Paul likes cards.
Paul likes cards.
He
All
does,
right.
alright, yeah.
Let me know if that one's okay or not.
Want something to pass around?
So my name's Aaron. I'm based in Yarmouth, and I live in Falmouth. I've been doing renewable energy development in New England for well over a decade. started with wind, and now I do solar. A couple years ago, started a company with some other guys called Ranger Solar. You may have heard us in the news a little bit. We've got the Sanford project.
Yep.
So Ranger was bought by Nextera Energy earlier this year, this past winter. So I went to work for Nextera. And Nextera is a large energy company. It's actually the world's largest solar and wind company. Big portfolio of projects all over the world, mostly in North America. But they didn't have much in New England, so that's why they wanted us. So the good news is they've got a lot of resources and a lot of experience. And all of our projects are moving forward. So what brings me here tonight is we have a project that we've started developing here in Lebanon and in Berwick. Very early stages. But I did want to give you guys a heads up about it because we're hoping it will progress over the coming years. Frankly, these projects take a long time. So what we do is we build utility scale projects. And what that means is it's a large project that's connected directly to the transmission system. So that's not rooftop solar, it's not backyard solar, it's essentially a power plant of solar panels that's connected to the grid. The great thing about that is it pays a lot of taxes and doesn't use any services to speak of. So that's one of the things we've seen towns really like about our projects. So our project here will be a little bit.
Say here in Berwick, is that because it's over the border?
It's over the border,
Okay.
yeah, potentially. So we have a number of acres under control right now that we're studying. We typically do lease agreements. Sometimes we do purchases. So we're studying that property right now. We're doing wetland delineations. We're doing vernal pool surveys, all that kind of stuff. Once we have all that information in, I'll be able to come back here, hopefully this winter, with a map of a project area and show you guys where it's actually going to be or where we think it's going to be. But one of the reasons why we're here is because of the electrical infrastructure you have here. When we look to do projects, we like to site them adjacent to or near as possible existing electrical infrastructure, like the transmission lines that you have here in the substations. We are looking for what we call offtake, a power purchase agreement for the project. Typically, we do that with a large utility. So we're talking to several utilities. This project was submitted into a bidding process in Massachusetts. And that's a similar process that the Sanford Airport project was bid into, and we were selected for that one. We'll know in January if this project was selected for that, and if not, there's other opportunities as well. So that's kind of the gist of it. Does that tend to drive this project? It does.
Just the demand. Basically, if it doesn't get it, then you got to scramble to find that demand again.
If it doesn't get that, like I said, there's other opportunities. New England's kind of interesting, right? We have a unified independent system operator called ISO New England that services the whole region. Within that, there's a bunch of older types of generation. So coal, oil, and some nuclear that's retiring. So the region needs energy. So if it's not this one, if it's not this mass RFP, it'll be the next one, or it'll be a direct agreement with one of the utilities, basically to replace all of that stuff that's coming offline in the next handful of years.
Right.
But really still early stages, got a long road ahead of us. I see this as a 2020 project, maybe. That's kind of what we're envisioning. We have the only substantive thing that we've done besides get some land and do some studies is we've submitted what's called an interconnection request into ISO New England, which is a long process, multiple years, that would allow us to eventually interconnect to the transmission system. if we meet all the requirements, essentially.
And the transmission is actually in the Lebanon side, is that correct?
Yes, that would be, yeah, that's your lines through here.
Right.
Yeah, that's the plan.
So that would be, we would be more beneficial than Berwick because the power plant would basically be on the Lebanon side, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
And I'm just saying, because I know the station that we have down here is a help for us.
Yeah, it's fairly new too.
Yeah,
you get some tax revenue off of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I envision the bulk of the project being in this town.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll evolve a little bit. Like I said, we'll know more probably this winter what it looks like.
Right.
But
so how many acres are we talking about? What is that?
That's a good
question. I mean, you're
question
doing
too.
solar. You're basically clear cutting. I mean, you're just taking it straight down because you have to have the panels have to have.
You have to have room, and that's one of the things with solar, right? It's land intensive.
Yep.
You know, you're basically creating a big pasture with panels in it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about multiple hundreds of acres, a couple hundred acres at least for this project. This project will likely be, in the order of magnitude of $60 to $80 million, if not more. In terms
How much?
$60 to $80 million roughly in terms of new investment, and likely most of that coming to this town. So that's what we're envisioning. We have similar projects that are more mature elsewhere in the state. As I noted, the Sanford project. We've got one in Farmington that would be of a similar size. That's a 75 megawatt project up there. We'll be submitting permits to DEP and the town this fall for that project. And then we have two in the central part of the state near Clinton and Fairfield. Yeah. So my goal was just to give you guys a heads up, let you know that, we're gonna have some folks kind of sniffing around in town, talking to some landowners and doing some work on some properties. Eventually the project will be permitted through the site law process with DEP. But a lot of towns we work with also have a site plan review process that we would need to go through. I don't know what the process here is in town, but
for that kind of a project, quite frankly, I'm not positive. I'm brand new as of May to this position.
Okay.
Laura's been involved in the town for a lot, but brand new to this position as of May as well. So,
gotcha.
we have a subdivision, but this isn't a subdivision.
Yeah.
We have a building code, so this is purely a commercial property.
Yeah.
The town doesn't have a charter. The town doesn't have a comprehensive plan.
Right.
So it really is kind of a wild west a little bit in here.
I've heard that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
it's beautiful down here.
No, it's
It is
nice.
pretty.
No, it's nice. And so again, it's I don't know that we have an ordinance to do that. Or to even to control that. Now we do have a comprehensive plan committee.
Yep.
That is working right now on a comprehensive plan.
Gotcha.
But that again doesn't create ordinances.
Right.
Or even land use ordinances. It's just
some guidance.
It's a plan. It's a framework.
Yeah.
And so then on top of that is when there's zoning or whatever that might get passed. But that's this is again the Wild West. So zoning in the Wild West is tough.
Yeah.
So that's a long process. So I don't know. So right now I'm not even sure there is any real permitting if you have it. As far as commercial, I mean, Dollar General was there permitting for Dollar General? Does anybody know?
I'm sure there was.
There's a state.
Well, there was a building permit.
Because-
There was a building permit, but there was no site plan.
Well,
They
This
had
is
to-
part of the building.
They have to meet setbacks for building codes, but that's
Sure.
Right,
Yeah.
that was all that they had was the building.
right. I mean, and they're talking a couple hundred acres, a 25-foot setback. It's pretty easy to meet. And it's not even a building. I mean, it's a.
It's not. Yeah, there likely wouldn't be any buildings.
Right. So I mean, again, commercial. I don't know. I haven't. Again, is there a commercial code or electrical code that has to get? Do you guys have to bring in third-party inspectors? I mean.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a national code, a national electric code we have to meet.
But like our commercial stuff is all third-party, so
Yeah.
our guy doesn't do commercial, so that's all third-party.
So,
Our main utility involved.
are the main utilities involved? Yeah, Central Main Power will be our interconnecting utility. Yes, we'll be working with them.
So you're almost a utility.
We're not a utility. Nextera Energy is elsewhere, but not in Maine. We are a independent generator. It's called, just like a biomass plant that makes energy, or a wind farm or something like that. So in this case, we're not technically a utility. We're an independent generator. But for other towns that don't have an ordinance or zoning, I haven't been involved with any that don't have zoning, but that's a new one. I worked all over New England. That's a new one to me. But our DEP permit application is very thorough.
Well, that's right. Yeah, because the DEP is the wetlands. That's all that stuff. So
visual impacts,
yeah.
Decommissioning plan, bonds for the project. Yep. All that jazz. So what we can do is certainly at a minimum, make sure you have all of that to look at and review.
No, and again, I'm sure DEP would be. Do they have public hearings as well for these?
Public hearings, and so more than that,
I'm sure that if there's a local concern, the DEP is open to hearing that local concern.
Absolutely. So, but even more than that, and I was going to get to this. What we do and what we've done on all of our projects in New England, and I currently have 14 of these that are in the permitting process, and I have a number that are coming up. We do a lot of outreach in the community. Mm-hmm. So this is just the first step, I see it. Once we have a project area well defined, what we'll do is we'll do abutter events. So we'll go out and we'll talk to all the abutters. We'll have a barbecue, basically invite everybody who lives near the project to understand what their concerns might be. Mm-hmm. After we do that, we'd like to come back and do a formal presentation to you guys, more details about the project. Mm-hmm. And then ultimately we'll offer a townwide open house. We've had a lot of success with those. We just say, hey, put in the newspaper, anybody wants to come, hear about this project, that engages everybody. And then there's the formal DEP process where they, either choose to do, a public hearing or however they want to do it. Right. But again, we're pretty far out.
I hear you.
Next year, basically.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. Do you guys have a buffer zone? You guys tend to have a buffer zone between that. How visible from let's say from a street or another abutter? You guys tend to have a.
We typically do 25 feet's really the minimum.
I'm thinking more visibility. I'm not thinking. Because again, this is clean energy, so I don't think a lot of people are against clean energy, but it's what they see.
It's what the visual impact.
It's the visual. It's the visual impact is I think probably more the concern.
So it can vary.
I know everybody's different in where it's located.
Yeah, 75 feet's not uncommon for a vegetated buffer. If there's existing vegetation and we have enough room, what we'll do in what they call the visual impact assessment is we'll look at key public rights of way and residential areas where the project might be visible, and they'll simulate what the project would look like, and then what they'll do is they'll propose landscape mitigation. So just some plantings, some trees.
To break that up
Yeah, and then they'll simulate what they look like when they're first installed, and then in 15 years or so.
And things grow and things
grow. Okay. We have I have 5 projects in Vermont where they're very. It's like a museum there. So that's a big deal over there. So we're pretty.
Got to deal with the cows too.
We deal with cows. We have some goats on one project, but we try to keep the livestock out. So the plan would be, next year come back with a more baked project area, and then go through everything I just said. The project would be, a 25 to 35 year lifespan. At the end of the useful life of the project, it's decommissioned. Everything's removed off the property, and restored to, the extent practicable, the previous conditions. And we have a bond. We'll have that bonded or a letter of credit.
Is that extendable?
The life of the project? So what we'll do is...
why wouldn't you replace, if it's worth it, why wouldn't you want to go in and replace?
It is potentially extendable. We have to get a new lease and we'd have to get a new permit too. So, but typically the solar projects the panels are degrading at, 30, 35 years.
Right.
So on the outside, yes, if.
But there's other infrastructure, all that
all that
connectivity
stuff.
infrastructure
Yeah.
is there, so I would think it would make sense to.
And he could. I hopefully won't be doing that. Right.
No, I hear you.
But they would the individuals at the time would have to do another permit application because the permits have a life, basically.
Right.
And you're seeing that, just as an analogy, you're seeing that with the hydro dams a little bit.
Okay.
In Maine, they have to do what's called FERC relicensing. It's a federal relicensing, and it's not uncommon, but we haven't reached that with many solar projects.
Right, so they haven't.
Some of the wind projects.
So we'll see. And who knows what technology is going to be in 33 odd years, right?
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. Who knows?
Okay.
Well, I can leave you some more of these, just if folks are interested, and give me a holler. And I appreciate what you guys do.
You've got my email.
I do have your email.
Yep.
Yeah. I serve on the town council in Falmouth, so I understand all the hard work.
Okay.
Thanks for you guys.
I got good friends
Thank
over in
you.
Falmouth. Breen's, Gellers.
Gellers. I'm not from there originally. My wife is, and she knows. She seems to know everybody.
Okay.
But yeah, it's
Yeah, Jay Geller and Catherine Breen.
Okay.
Kathy Breen. Yep.
Kathy Breen. Oh, I know Kathy.
Yeah. She's in the Senate.
Yeah, she's in. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I know Kathy. Yeah. I was on the Conservation Commission when she was on the council.
Right. She was on the right.
Yeah.
Quite a few years ago.
Yeah. So, and we, I don't know if you know Steve Buck up in Sanford. There, the town manager, city manager. We've worked with him for the past 3 or 4 years. So,
He came from up north somewhere.
He did. He came from Caribou or Presque Isle.
Somewhere up there,
Yeah. Still has a little bit of an accent.
Sanford projects on still going on.
Yeah, going strong. We got FAA approval. That one's a little more complicated because it's pretty much right on the airport there.
Mm-hmm.
We got FAA approval. We got our interconnection agreement with CMP, which is a big milestone. And now we just got to finish the DEP approval. So that's what we're doing right now.
And how does that look?
It was pretty good. I mean, IF&W, as they tend to be, are kind of a pain in the butt sometimes, but they're working with us. And, solar is not wind. And I think DEP's happy about that. It's not as big of an impact.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward.
Good.
So,
good.
Thank you for your time.
Okay,
Thank you
Get back to
very
meeting.
much.
No, I appreciate it. Good to meet you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Nice to meet you.
Take care.
Me too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice presentation.
Oh, thanks.
Cool.
Tax dollars.
Yeah.
Cha-ching. That's true.
That our CMP
Yeah,
went up
yeah.
by $7.5 million in valuation this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Part of it was, I don't want to call it a mistake, not on our part, on CMP's part, because they send out a declaration of all their values.
Yeah.
To most towns, and most towns
Yeah.
use them. A couple towns don't, but most towns take those, and that's what they value them at. Because who are we to put a value on that? There's
Absolutely.
in doing their values, I guess there was some, I don't want to say miscalculations, but anyways, they ran into some stuff where they had to true a lot of things up, and so that was why there was such a big jump. And John was like, when he called me, he's like, wow, and we'll get into the commitment. I think it will take longer than 10 minutes, and they're supposed to be here in 10 minutes. But that's actually one of the things that saved us, because again, we had the school went up, the town went up.
No.
So and Homestead went up huge.
Yeah, it did.
As far as we took a $7.7 million hit based on Homestead. So that huge increase. So without that, our taxes would have gone up because Homestead exemptions went way up.
They did.
So we got, again, we'll go into that, but so it's like CMP wants to do something else. Yeah, we'll take another substation, no problem. I mean, it's like, it's a good moneymaker for the town. So, all right, so they're done. I wanted to just publicly say Sarah and Wendy passed their advanced EMTs with their tests. So I want to just
Good job.
congratulate them.
Yeah.
to let you guys know, appeals board. We had an appeals board the other day. Deborah is the chair. Let's put it this way, we're going by the book now, the way things are supposed to be now. When shoreline zoning is involved, the DEP is supposed to be notified. Not sure that's ever happened. So they've been working with Jenny and Deborah have been working on, I think you might have seen the email on a checklist.
Yeah.
Trying to make sure that nothing gets missed and we get, just like we're trying to get Mike to make sure when he denies it, to write down specifically what ordinances and what, exactly what's wrong. So we're trying to tighten that up some.
I actually was gonna wait for public participation to mention that, but I wanted to thank Jenny because she's worked huge. And we now have a checklist, for procedures to follow to make sure that each person is notified and really, Jenny, I don't know how you took my babblings and made this, but it's amazing. And the only other thing that I saw that wasn't on here was if it's a disability hardship specifically, we do need documentation of that, but people need to be assured that that is confidential records and that they're not maintained by the individual appeals board, they're maintained in the town office. But for example, if they're claiming a disability, anybody can walk in and say they have a disability, but there needs to be documentation from a medical doctor or a therapist stating that there is the disability. So that was the only thing out of everything that I saw missing out of that. So really, I want to thank you so much, Jenny.
You're welcome.
Fantastic.
Let's see what else. I got an email from Sheriff King. Did you guys see part of that? Did I CC you? I thought I did. So, I don't know if we'll have time tonight, but I mean, again, I don't know whether we want him to come in, talk about contract police. I don't know.
Well, I think it kind of went wild.
Something. Yeah. Well, I always struggle between, because let's face it, we could use 20 police officers here.
Absolutely.
And they could be standing on every corner, catching every speeder, catching every, but where do you draw that line? And any police force will say, yeah, we always need more bodies. We always need it. So for the Maine State Police to say, yeah, we need more, we can't do but yet at some point you definitely don't have enough and you definitely need to and so that's where I get, stuck with is how much police presence are we trying to add for public safety to the town? I mean, do we really want cops patrolling all the roads, catching everybody that speeds? I mean, quite frankly, Center Road, people speed, but 35 is, I could drive to the center of Old Port down in Portland, which has a hell of a lot more people, and it's 40 miles an hour. So, there's a lot of different things. And it's personal responsibility that, so that's what I struggle with.
Well, I just, obviously I've been here a long time and I've been through the police and then not the police and I just, before we invest all kinds of energy, how do the people feel? I guess, do they want police? Because that's ultimately where it's going to fall. Do you know what I mean?
Correct, but I think it's also a cost. So again, and I think it's a cost-benefit analysis because if people said, I could add more police, it's not going to cost you a dime.
That's not going to happen.
No. But I'm just saying is that probably they'd be willing to add. But
we ultimately they're going to decide this.
Correct.
So
I agree.
What are we going to do? Are we going to go and invest and get all this stuff and then they say no, or do we find out first if they're interested? Do they want us to pursue this? I don't know, because I don't know. I know we've always been torn. We had many votes where state police or sheriff. And everybody was divided whether we're gonna have the state police or whether we're gonna have the sheriff. Obviously, we can't have the state police, not as a contract, but, I mean, they'll do what they do, so I don't know.
Yeah, but we already pay county taxes.
Yes.
Now he wants to charge us for one officer.
Everybody pays county taxes.
Right.
And it all goes to the sheriff. I mean, not all of it, but everybody pays a portion, and a part of that goes there.
Goes to
Whether
the
you
sheriff.
use it or not.
And I was told, so I reached out to the county manager.
Mhm.
And he says, no money goes from the sheriffs to the Maine State Police.
No. The county tax is for the county.
For the county.
We
So
pay
that
that,
goes-
so that's the
So
sheriff.
some of that does go to the sheriff's department.
Yes.
But yet none of the sheriff doesn't then in turn,
No.
which I'm shocked at, to be honest with you.
I think we're better off right now, the way we are, than we were in the past.
But that's really not our decision. I mean, do you know what I mean? I guess that's, that's the voters' decision, I guess. So
No,
that's.
I agree with you. So I mean, do we put something, and do we do it in November? Do we do it in May? Do we just say, do you want us to pursue a cost benefit analysis of adding police?
And you can do it a non-binding
Right.
referendum.
Well, I'm just
We're just
asking their opinion. Do you
Absolutely.
want us to pursue?
But I wouldn't do it in November because we're not gonna get enough people. I really think it would have to be.
8 years ago, remember the grant?
Yes.
That got beat.
I hear you. That's my point. So before, I mean,
Every time we
obviously,
brought it up, it got beat.
I agree. But it's their decision. I have my opinion, you have yours, he has his. But it's the voters'
I agree.
decision. If they want us to pursue this, then I think we have to. But in turn, we probably ought to have an idea what we're talking about, because
Well,
most
that's
people-
basically what they're going to say. Well, what's it going to cost? That's
Absolutely,
what
so we
I mean,
have to
that's the
have an
bottom line.
idea, yeah,
So, Mother,
yeah.
Have a
So, you know what I mean, it's,
we're just finishing up.
Okay, no, that's fine.
I mean, Acton and Shapley do this already, they do it together, and I think they have two. They used to have one, but maybe they have two now, I'm not sure, sheriff,
Oh, no,
so,
come here.
I mean, because Maine State Police, we have it is what it is.
absolutely,
So our options are really limited.
Yeah,
To do it on our own, I think is crazy
that would
Because-
never happen.
because of the infrastructure that's involved and how many officers you actually need, and it's.
We've been there,
And so I think before we even get there, the next step would be contracting with.
well, that's our only option, I think.
I wish it was.
Cost-wise.
I wish we could contract with Maine State Police, quite frankly, but that's. They don't allow that. So
But it's,
that's.
we can talk about.
So we
that.
can bring him in and just to get.
Well,
get
and
an
kind of get
idea
some numbers
of-
and figure, because we gotta have a figure, but I
But if we're not
really,
gonna do it until May, then there's no real rush right now.
well, it would be just good to get
Yeah,
have an
okay.
idea about
Alright.
what we're talking about,
Alright.
so.
No, that's fine. I mean,
Mhm.
I mean, I feel the same way. Why go to all that if the people really don't want it? I don't.
Cause we've done that before.
Yeah, I know.
We've gone that road and then they say no, and it's like,
Yep, there's no point in,
Mhm.
you know,
okay.
so. Alright. Yes,
So if I could, I just wanna say, there's no harm in people saying no. At least you know for sure what they want and what they don't. And I know it's a little bit of work to put something on the ballot, it's a little bit of research work and stuff, but I have to agree with Laura that it's up to the voters.
Yep.
But I hear her disappointment in votes of the past and how hard she's worked to get something on the ballot, but at least you know, is what I'm saying. And don't be afraid to put it on the ballot because they might say no, because
Oh,
at
okay,
least
yeah,
then you
yeah.
know.
Yeah, okay,
That's
yeah,
it,
I'm saying that.
you know. Yeah, no, I was kind of trying to encourage her a little bit because I could hear the disappointment in the times she's worked hard and people have said no in the past.
That's their right.
Yeah. It's okay.
how are you?
Good,
How are you?
how are you?
Good.
Good.
Hi,
How are you?
are you?
I'm good.
Good?
Training.
You wanna go over that first?
Oh, what else we gonna do?
Well,
That's
basically
what we're here for.
no, it was this.
Oh, we got told training.
Oh,
Okay,
But that's okay.
no, that's fine. I mean, we can push that off to next week.
No, it's you got the slot, so if you don't
Yeah.
want to, if you want to do that
Yeah.
later, that's fine.
But I basically want to go over this because these are the two quotes, and after talking to both salespeople,
Yep.
and then having the salespeople sit down with some people that use it all the time, like Sharon uses it all the time, and Acton uses it, the Zoll. So she's here to answer any more questions that I can't. These are the two quotes that I got because one of the companies is out of business now, and that's Phillips. So this is Physio, which is Life Pack. This is Zoll. Zoll did come in cheaper. It's a lighter unit. It's what we use now. It's what all the other area departments use. So if we're calling in mutual aid, like if we needed a paramedic at 2 o'clock in the morning, if Sanford or Frisbee comes here, they don't have to take all our pads off. They can plug and play with the Zoll because that's what they use. And Zoll will also buy take the 2 Zolls in trade. And they'll also buy, we have an automatic thumper, what I call an automatic thumper, that I relieve in Maine, and they're gonna buy that back. So this came in like $1,234 and some change, cheaper than the Life Pack.
Is that because they're giving you more back?
Yeah. And these units are easy, we call them fireman proof because anybody can use them. I mean, the basics use them right up through paramedics.
So everone can use this?
Yes.
This isn't a restriction of
No.
whatever level you're at?
No. Now, you do understand this is the big heart monitor that sits inside, it's not an AED like we have on the wall here, okay.
But it does have the AED function.
Yeah. Which we had quite a save yesterday.
And this has all the electrodes and everything else that you need. These are all similar. I mean,
It comes with the monitor, it comes with the cables, it comes with the pulse ox, the
And both these companies, what they do is when they build this, they buy the inside components from the same company, and then they build their own units.
Yeah.
So it isn't like they get, from different companies, they all buy from the same company and build their units.
now that was May. Is there any change to that one?
No, I called him up today and I asked him again if there was any change, and he said no.
Now, this one you said the other people we work with, other towns have?
All the other towns surrounding towns use that.
yeah, there's only one department that I know of that doesn't use Zoll, and that's Wakefield. They have the Phillips, which is no longer in use.
And
If you go
Goodwin Mills went with a Life Pack because that's what they always have, even though Zoll came in cheaper for them also, but they always use Life Pack.
Zoll is also what the military now uses as well, based on my experience working with the military.
And it's quite a bit lighter than Life Pack.
Yes, significantly lighter.
So this is so we buy 2 of them?
Yes.
Is that what this is?
Yeah, unfortunately, the components of the current monitors that we have and the X series that's being looked at purchase, they don't fit each other. So to do capnography, which is for waveform when we have a COPD patient or a pneumonia patient or somebody that we have intubated, those parts don't fit they're not universal, cause they've just changed how they're built.
Now, what about service and training?
100% training. He'll come in and train as many nights as we need it, so sometimes we can't get everybody on the first night. So, he'll come in as many nights as we need. Service.
They need refreshers down the road,
Oh,
6
all-
months down the road.
The
Yeah,
Zoll
yeah, Zoll's
goes
very
above and
good.
beyond, from my experience. I've worked with the reps for a number of years, working in Acton and a couple other places.
Because the Zoll, I think, has lots of functions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, unfortunately, they both do.
Right.
You know, the guy that our sales rep has met me on a Sunday because I had an issue, and he met me right at the station to do that. So.
Now, do we have money for this, right? Is it out of somewhere?
So that would be out of the capital improvement fund, which we have 180 in fire and EMS.
180?
180, because we just added 75.
Oh.
So I had 105, in the new year we added 75 to it.
Yeah, I thought we added 50.
No,
With
they
it.
increased it.
The new vote was to add 75.
Oh. Okay.
You were on the budget committee.
I know, I thought that was 50. I thought that one was 50. Is it 2 or is it 1? It was just 1.
No, it's 1, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I know this is something that's needed.
I totally agree.
And it doesn't matter, I mean, they changed ambulances, so it doesn't matter, this was all part of the ambulance, why the ambulance was so expensive is, you know, these should have been separately, in my mind, these should have been separated out anyways. So, questions, Paul?
We could even train you how to use it.
There you go.
What?
This, Paul.
Like these are.
Now they'll be able to save you, Paul.
The simplicity of these is beautiful. You want a blood pressure, you push the button of the arm that has the blood pressure cuff on it.
And we're getting rid of that one was that the thumper you're talking about that we can't use or whatever?
Yeah, they're
anymore,
taking
whatever.
that back, they're giving us money for that. Yeah, so physio wouldn't do it because we'd have to buy one from them.
Yep. What do you guys think?
Well, I think.
They want Zoll and Zoll is cheaper, so.
Oh, I agree.
So, 51 grand.
It's
Want to spend some money?
It's
It's
only,
only money.
It's only money. Okay, I'll put it out there. I make a motion to authorize the chief to buy 2 X-Series manual monitor defibrillators from Zoll per the quote we have here for $51,008.10.
I'll second it.
Per.
No, not
No,
per.
that's both of them.
That's for both.
That's for both of them.
That's for both of them.
Such a deal, huh, Paul?
Made
So-
it that much better.
Yeah.
So you don't have to use it.
Yeah.
So she seconded it. All those in favor?
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Do we need to sign something or not?
If I can sign it or you can sign it. Wait. 2 little side. You know what I'll do? I'll make the training when my assistant chief is here. So he.
That's fine. Well, I thought that
Yeah,
was gonna be
well,
here.
I think I put both, but then he
Yeah.
got called in, so I just wanna get this done. But I do have 2 more things, that are real quick. One is, talking with some other chiefs, meeting with Sanford Hospital and stuff like that. We're looking at, moving our resource hospital from Goodall to Frisbee. So,
What does that mean?
all that means is that they would be our source hospital, so that's where we get all our meds. We do 90% of our calls, at least 90% of our calls to.
I've been to Sanford
Frisbee.
once since
Yeah.
I started working here on Fridays.
They would be our resource hospital, which would get a medical director. We get all our meds from there and some really good QA, QI, which is quality control stuff.
So our medical director right now is from Sanford?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm working that out. I went and met with them yesterday to talk to them.
Is there a cost issue to this? Is there a?
No, the only cost issue is like over to Sanford is the medications.
Yeah, makes life a lot easier for everybody. Southern Maine Healthcare has changed the way they're distributing the medications. Say we have a patient that hits a tree and I have to life flight them to Maine Med or to Boston, and I give them pain meds to get them comfortable until life flight arrives. If the pharmacy in Sanford isn't open, I then have to go to Biddeford to replace it, and now we're out of service.
So I get an
Because
ambulance that's out of service.
The ER will no longer replace our narcotics and medications unless we transport to their ER. Whereas if we switch to Frisbee now, we don't have to worry about being out of service. The state requires us to have a certain amount of medications, so until that medication is then replaced, we're now breaking the state mandated laws on this, which can open up a whole nother.
And this is becoming a big issue because they're not really changing anything over there. We still gotta go to Biddeford, which on a weekend, so just imagine this weekend, we run out of meds.
Yep.
So.
Because I learned this the hard way in Acton when I life flighted a person and gave pain meds.
So Maine EMS is on board with that. They don't care as long as we have a hospital. They don't care what side of the border it's on. And so talking with Frisbee has been floating it around to some other agencies. So I went and talked to him yesterday, and the guy that runs it, and asked him, so what would it take for us to be over here? Because Maine EMS says as long as you have a hospital, and as long as they can give you the same meds, then as long as you have a hospital, we're fine with it. So I just want to let you know that was going on.
Okay. So what has to happen to make that happen?
Well, they're going to draft up a contract like we have with hospitals, saying that they're going to be our resource hospital and stuff like that. And then we can send it to legal and have them browse through it and stuff. And
Does that mean that you don't go to?
oh no, we'll still go
Okay,
there.
that's what I
But
was.
all our
If somebody requests you go there or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
We take patients wherever they want to go within reason. Obviously, we're not going to transport them to Florida, no matter how much
but
we'd
we've
rather
got
be
New
there
York
and out of the
Hospital.
snow. But
It just means that that's where we get all our medication and if some of our equipment.
And they're open 24/7
Yeah.
versus someplace else that isn't, so it makes sense to
and,
go there.
And they have, their pharmacies open more and stuff like that, so it only makes sense, and stuff like that. The next thing is that he also told me that Frisbee's thinking about charging for intercepts, like Sanford does. That's still in the talks. He just mentioned it. I thought I mentioned it to you. So when I said, if I come and I say no, they're not going to do it, or yeah, they are going to do it, it's not a shock. But they're floating.
Well, we already paid for Sanford intercepts anyway.
Yeah,
So.
and it would be less than that. But they've been doing it for free for eons. But they said it to me, and so I'm just passing it on.
Don't they get to bill that? When they intercept, don't they get
No,
to
what
bill?
not
happens
if
if
we
we
transport with them in the back.
then we charge for it. So basically, we're making that money, but where all our money goes in the general fund, we have a line item to.
So
They're charging the intercept fee is basically for their paramedic.
Yeah.
yes, because they're paying their paramedic to come out and run the ALS portion of the
Yeah,
call.
but I mean Sanford is charging us what, $375?
$375.
And I guarantee you they're making a ton of money off of that because they're only paying the paramedic $20 an hour.
So that's what
Right.
happens is that we bill it as a paramedic call. So we end up getting.
So their paramedic doesn't bill at all?
No.
So we handle all the billing?
We handle all the
We
billing.
can bill at the paramedic
Because
level.
the theory behind it is they don't bill us because they're intercepting us and we transfer and they're using our drugs and our equipment for the most part. They have medications that they can give that we can't give in Maine.
Yep.
Just because
In
different.
New Hampshire, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can do a little bit more stuff. But
So they come, they're being paid by Frisbee to come and intercept us. Our department then bills the patient for the ALS fee. And then then they give us a bill for their fee and we pay out of that ALS fee a portion of that back to them is how it's supposed to work. But it all goes into the general fund, so it comes out of Dan's account to pay them.
Say that one more time.
Okay. So you're a Frisbee medic and you
Yep.
get called to come to Lebanon.
Yep.
You transport in Lebanon's ambulance.
Yep.
Frisbee is paying you to run the call in Lebanon.
Yep.
You don't you bill Lebanon for the paramedic. Okay?
Well, Frisbee does.
Yeah.
Right.
Then
They bill us-
Lebanon
They bill us.
yeah, they bill us
Well,
just
Frisbee
for the
doesn't
medic.
bill us at all.
not right now, no.
They will
Right,
bill
but-
us for the paramedic. Lebanon bills the patient for paramedic transport.
Okay.
And then Lebanon gets that money, and that portion of that money, in theory, is supposed to go to Frisbee for their paramedic fee. For their
But
paramedic
because it all
fee.
goes into general
But because
fund,
it goes to
Is
general
there-
fund, it comes
is
out of
there-
the Lebanon's
is there
department
any
fund.
way- Is there any way to address that with the collection people that do the billing
where we bill for a paramedic intercept for a paramedic thing that is using somebody else.
We bill for the ALS
For them-
transport.
For them to take a portion of that and send it directly to there, rather than,
I don't know, because we
once
need
it
to know.
comes to us, it goes into our general
Yeah.
fund, we don't.
Well, yeah.
Then it comes out of your
Then it
budget.
comes out of my budget.
But my point is
But I
that
don't
if we
know,
can,
that's
if we
a
can
good point.
intercept before it comes to us,
If they could do
Send-
it rather than us.
and send a couple $100, or even the full $375 or whatever it is, directly to.
Oh,
That
that's
would be
interesting.
nice.
That's interesting.
That would be
yeah.
a nice way to do it. Because that's how it works with Sanford too, is Sanford bills Lebanon or Sanford bills Acton, and then it comes out of Acton's budget, because Acton, whatever we get in Acton also goes to Acton's general fund. So it comes out of Chief
Because that way
Johnson's.
we only get what we should be getting, and that's we
Yeah.
paid our expenses.
Mhm.
I'll have to see if they can do that.
Yeah,
But
I'm
there's
not
gotta
sure.
be some way to code it though on the billing part so that
Yeah.
they know that this one we gotta send.
The only
Can't be coded the same as a paramedic call with you being
Mhm.
on staff doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gotta be a different.
The only thing I can think of is maybe if you can keep track of like how many times we intercept with Sanford, and then tally that up based on what their rate is,
Yeah.
and send that and say, hey, we need you to
I'll
send this
call,
much
because this
to
probably isn't
Sanford.
unique. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure maybe somebody's already floated this by them. So.
Yeah, but I mean, the other thing is, I mean, a lot of these things are done in an enterprise account where then you don't have that issue.
Yeah.
But we're not going to,
No.
not for a long time,
No.
just because that name, that word
Yeah.
is a no-no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have to be creative in other ways to do it, but I'm just thinking is that way it doesn't whack you out of your budget. You know,
Yeah.
and quite frankly, it hurts the town because we're spending it, but even though we're getting the revenue, we're not seeing that. In the long run, we get more revenue, so when we do our tax commitment, it gets included, but it's just,
Yeah.
You know, especially if Frisbee goes up, now your budget next year is gonna have to go up to account for intercepts from Frisbee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have really, there's nothing you can do about it.
No. No. I mean, luckily having some more A's on will help lessen that.
But again,
Yeah.
if we can get, knowing that we're billing for it, if we can get that portion or at least some of that to go defray that cost, then less of it comes out of your budget.
It's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll try that, yeah.
So talk to the billing company, see if they, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Cool.
do you have a question?
I do, so how often are we utilizing an outside paramedic? I mean, how
Not
often
often.
a week are you
Now
calling them?
it's not nearly as
Not
often as what it used to
nearly
be with
what it
me,
used to
Rory,
be.
and all the advanced.
With
that they have
with
on.
more advanced, even just with more advanced, because now they can administer breathing treatments and stuff like that, which was the bulk of our calls. Now the advanced can take care of it, and rather than calling in, you know that, you know, I've seen a drop in how many time we've called.
Yeah, I've even been getting called here when I'm working at them
So
a lot less.
you don't have numbers available at how often we're using an outside paramedic?
I could run those numbers.
I mean, just average in a month, you know.
Yeah.
Jordan would,
So,
because he has to pay that.
What days do we have paramedics on staff?
Every Friday.
Friday?
Every Friday.
I'm here
Sharon's
every
on.
Friday,
And then
unless I have something that I can't be
and
there.
then Rory, who's our other paramedic, floats during the week. So sometimes he's here for 16 on Monday and maybe second shift on Thursday and stuff like that. So we have nobody that
Do we
works.
have a lot of calls for a paramedic on Monday?
No. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't.
It's a
you know,
hit and
hard
miss,
to-
just like
it's hit or miss.
it's a
You
hit
know,
or
I
miss
can-
no matter
Right,
where you
I mean,
are.
I was just thinking probably most accident and, you know, huge accident things were on the weekend, so I just was curious because I haven't spoken to you.
Well,
in a
call
while.
volumes always go up
Just
anywhere on the
curious.
weekends because a lot of people
That's
are
what
off
I
on the
was
weekends.
thinking is that
And
we
just
need
like in the
them on
summers,
Mondays?
call volumes always go up in the summer because you have all the tourists coming up, people on vacations, kids are in
Right.
school.
Right, well, that's exactly
You know,
what
I could
was
sit
asking.
around
Do we
twiddling
need-
my thumbs
excuse
one
me,
Monday and then
excuse me, but that's why I was asking, do we need them on Mondays or do we need them more on the weekend?
Yeah, but this isn't really a discussion about staff.
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
So
I
it's-
was just asking.
No, I know that, but I'm just-
Number.
So it's hard to
Why?
say because some weekends we don't. You know, we may have 2 calls, and on Tuesday we could have 8 calls. You know,
Right.
there's no. You know.
Even on
Yeah.
Fridays,
It's like some days we could be.
I've had some
this
Fridays
side of
where I've
town
run
all day
one,
long.
and I've had other Fridays where I've
And
had
then
7 or 8.
3 days later, we're at the other
It's
side.
like hit and miss no
Right.
It's
no
hard
matter
to-
what.
So.
Alright,
Alright, cool.
is that all you guys have?
Yeah.
You have a question?
When the ambulance from Rochester comes here, they've got a paramedic on it, right?
They send their Medic 5, which is a interception truck.
It's a truck that
Pickup
they call it a fly car. So they come out in the fly car has a drug box and their first in bag and everything else, and then they transport in the back of whoever they are intercepting with them.
Is it a driver with the paramedic? Is that how?
No, and then
What
generally somebody
Usually-
from the ambulance will then follow in the fly car.
So can we charge them for
Free
bringing
Nick
them?
out there, yeah.
Just
Must
ask.
be.
Well, that's
Just
okay,
asking.
I'll have to ask Gary that
Just
one.
asking.
You want your truck back?
Just asking.
Very, very rarely do they bring another ambulance, and it goes along with Sanford too. Is that if they're in the area and they get there first and they have an ambulance, because sometimes that truck isn't staffed, they don't have enough people to staff that truck, so they'll bring a full ambulance. Now, if they get on scene and it's way up and they beat us there, then we'll occasionally let them take the transport. Then it's
But then they bill everything.
Then they bill everything.
And
You
they
get
don't charge
charged.
the thing.
It's the same thing with Sanford.
Right.
If we don't have the person in the back of the ambulance and on the road, then we'll say you can take it because then we don't get billed.
Right, because it's only whoever's transporting gets to bill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yep, makes sense.
So, all right.
Makes sense. All right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wait a minute, one more.
All right. This is your last.
You need to be on the agenda for next week.
What
though?
about the chassis we were talking about?
Yes. Right now I got a price, and I'm waiting for him to come down. It's $140,000
For a chassis?
for the chassis, for the whole rig to be done. The chassis is $50,000.
And it's 4-wheel drive?
Yes. So I'm waiting for him to come down and show me because we went through the whole truck and updated things and stuff like that, but now I want to see it on paper. So, yeah. So
I don't think, so just, even with that cost, we don't have enough in the CIP.
exactly.
So I mean, I don't think November's the right time to put it on, so we have until May.
Yeah.
But I would like to get all our ducks in a row early before the budget committee.
Mhm.
Several different options. So that may be one.
Yeah.
Brand new one might be one, but a new one without all this other stuff added in.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, just the ambulance itself. And so I think we need to have those. These are our options. Let the budget committee talk about it.
Yeah.
Let them
Because
see
even
which
at
is.
$140,000, not much more, and you get a brand new ambulance.
Well, again, that's part of the argument is
Yeah.
that, do we really wanna do that with, we can get a brand new one that's got.
You mean it costs more to change it over than to buy the chassis?
Yeah.
No, well, you're saying, why the 100, so you're saying 50, but what's the
It's
other,
50,000.
what's the other 90?
It's $50,000 just for the chassis.
What's the other
Then
90?
90 is to put the box back on and wire it all up and update everything.
To
and
mount
stuff
it,
like that.
to mount it to the
90
chassis and
all-
rewire
all everything
and.
else, which is, yeah.
Because it's not as simple as it sounds, because they have all that
Yeah.
wiring that they have to go through and redo.
But is that refurbishing the box as well?
Yeah.
So that's refurbishing the box.
So that's
But I thought the
basically-
box was warranted.
Some of the box is warranted, but not, like they said, well, you should really replace your floor, you should do this, you should do that. So that's what I want to see and say,
Well,
do we really need to?
So yeah, work on, but that's
Yeah.
what I like to have for the budget committee
Yeah.
and have it early. So that, and again, we'll let them play with it and see
Yeah.
what makes sense to, and if we can get a consensus of what we ought to go for, then,
Yeah.
then we'll go
Yeah.
for it.
So I'm like at 140, not much more I can do.
Yep, no, I don't disagree.
So,
Yep.
Because even in Acton, we found it was just easier and cheaper and financially more logical
Yep.
to just build a box
Yep.
and get a brand new one.
So with this, do you want a PO, or do you just want me to tell Jordan?
No, we made a
Alright.
motion, you're good.
Alright, good. Alright.
Yep.
Anything else, Paul?
I'm all set.
You okay?
We're good.
We good? We
Alright,
good?
good.
Alright,
Alright,
thank
thank
you.
you very much.
Yep.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
You too.
Oh, enjoy your Labor Day weekend.
Yes.
We're all set all weekend.
Tiki Fest, you guys are good, they got a permit?
Yep, no, they don't have their permit yet, because I told them I'd come down on Friday, I'm gonna look at the weather
Okay.
and talk to them, so they're all set, I've already.
4x4 proving grounds?
4x4, I talked to them again today, and I'm gonna do a walkthrough tomorrow.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
So
and we got,
7-1.
and we have that coverage that you emailed me
We're
about,
all
so
set.
we're good.
Yeah.
Alright,
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks. That was on my events this weekend, as far as I know, it was 4x4 and Tiki Fest.
Yes.
4x4 has the mass gathering. Tiki, I don't believe they're gonna be more than 250. They haven't asked for a permit, so I mean, I'm not, you know, they normally aren't more than 250.
Go on to the box with her, she does know about it. The box.
Oh, yeah, it's on my list. We'll get there.
Okay.
Okay, nope, we'll do it. We'll do it now. The box.
He's ready to make a motion.
The box. He wants to spend money. Not a lot. So that's for the newsletters.
Oh, yeah.
So it's basically, actually, it's a real estate box. So you can put like real estate flyers on properties and stuff. But it's got a little lid. It's plastic in front so they can see it. It's even got the little red take one at the bottom of it. So, what do we figure, 6 of them?
I said I need 1, 2, 3.
So he knows 3 exactly because he got Hometown Mobile and then 2 for the transfer station.
So hometown.
4.
So 4.
2 at the station, 1 over to hometown.
Will hometown let you do this?
Yeah, I've already spoken to
Gail?
Don,
Dawn?
and he said this week he's the boss.
Good for you. Good for you.
No, I made a stand, and we're gonna put it on the stand, see, out of the way. I don't wanna nail it to anything over there.
Okay, no, I think
And
that's
Jimmy
great.
said he wants one for sure.
Jimmy who?
Boucher.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, I think that's great.
And then we're trying to figure, hopefully have a couple more places. That's why we said 6, whether we do one at Paul's Riverside because, or one at Trains. Again, we're just trying to figure out where people.
Yeah, that would be good. Because
So-
Trains has a huge bulletin board if they'd let you put it right inside there.
Or even if we had to put a stand or whatever.
Well, I'm
in
anxious to
someplace.
see what's the back of it, if it's got holes for.
Yeah, it does.
screws.
There's pictures. Yeah, it does. It does
Very
have-
nice,
so-
Paul.
Good job.
Oh, he
Well,
dug it
So
up.
do you want it in black or white? It comes in black, or
Black.
we want it white?
black. Well, black doesn't show the
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
No, I think that's great.
I'll have Jordan order 6 on the card on
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, cool. That's done. Okay, the box.
The
Got
box
the
is
box
done.
done. What else is on my?
Is that for your newsletters? Can I just know?
Yes.
Yeah, I just.
Yep. All right, let's get into. There's one for you. There's one for you. This is commitment stuff. So this is some of the stuff that John shared with me or gave me. Some of these are spreadsheets. So the top page that you see is basically a spreadsheet that shows kind of comparison between 16 and 17. So 17 being the current year and 16 and what the change is. You don't see some of the underlying numbers, but you see the net real valuation is 3.5 million for valuation. If you go down further, you'll see total homestead is there's a difference of 7.7 million. So that's how big homestead moved. So homestead is out of the valuation. So actually, if you added if homestead were to be the same, you have to add that 7.7 back to that 3.5. So that means we're at like 11,000. So we actually had an increase, but of valuations. So you had 7.5 with CMP plus another 4 or whatever with other valuations.
Yep.
So we still netted out, even taken out of the homestead, we still netted out, a positive. So the total valuation base, that's how it got there. The total, if you look at appropriations, again, it is what it is. It's county went up a little bit. The town went up 126K. School went up 173,000. So you add all that up, but that adds up to 311,000. So that just appropriations went up. So you need valuations to hopefully cover
Right.
that.
Right.
I mean that's the key. And then you have deductions, which is what we bring in for revenue. So that's helped. So the other is if you go to 1, 2, 3. Other is like the 4th page, just like that. So other is basically all the other revenue that we bring in. So Jordan put together this fiscal 15, 16, and 17 of the different revenue categories. He did an average, and I came up with a kind of a conservative under the proposed. So that's kind of the number that we kind of used.
Okay, yep.
You notice that there's a pretty good increase in it this year too, but in the past, they never really included the ambulance billing, but we looked at we went conservative on it, cause you can't really guess, but
Yeah.
it's been about,
Yeah.
it's a pretty steady amount for the last 3 years, so I
Yeah.
think it's important.
I mean, again, we get $100,000 or whatever in ambulance revenue. We ought to be using that.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I only use 90 just because.
Yeah.
You know, it's just again, I'm trying to be conservative.
I just think it's important that we include that, because it is a pretty steady thing that we've been getting for the last 3 years.
So that's how that 1, 2, 3, 9, 500 came out. That's where that
Okay.
comes from. For other revenue, and so that's increasing about 119, which is essentially ambulance revenue plus a little bit more that's gone up. So that helps a little bit. So so after appropriations and we added that, we have a net we needed to raise extra over the previous year of 175. Valuation does that as well as overlay. And so what this is saying is we can reduce our overlay down from 180 down to 116. Jordan feels comfortable with that number. We're not expecting a lot of abatements because most of them last year were because of the waterfront. And quite frankly, there was several waterfronts that were done for previous years that shouldn't have been done.
Well, don't we have to cover 25,000 for the waterfront?
No, that was done on last year's.
Okay.
Yeah, that was done last year's. So that's so then I got these are the sheets here are the 16 and the 17, the actual sheets that we're seeing. Which just kind of more or less show the same numbers. The other ones, there's some numbers that I did which are in that. So we went through the referendums to make sure the appropriations were in there and all that kind of stuff. So
The overlay, we could go up to 5, right?
yes. Yep. Yeah, if you look on our max overlay, we could go to 370,000. So, or we can go basically no overlay. I mean, so last year we were at 2.5%. The 116 number here is 1.57%. And doing that keeps taxes the same. And I think we can do that. The other thing that you look at is the general fund. Call it unrestricted, call it whatever you want, but just call it the general fund for simplicity. If that balance is kind of low, then you tend to want to increase your overlay. Our balance is pretty healthy. So this year, even with all the abatements that we had, we only went into overlay by like 90,000. So there's still, So again, I don't expect this coming year to be the same for abatements as this past year. So, okay. So there's no paperwork to sign tonight, but I would like to make a motion on the tax rate. And we can play with different tax rates. I can get the spreadsheet out and do that if you want to.
Well, it tells you right here, it's either this one, or this one.
No. In other words, it can be anywhere, our overlay can be anywhere between 370 and nothing. So it's at 116, 529, or 526 right now. But let's say we want to make it 150. Our tax rate will change.
Right.
I can calculate that, I can tell us what that is, so what, tonight I just wanna make a vote on setting the tax rate. And then John is coming here, so that's the other half of this, is so John is coming here Wednesday morning at 9:00 to go through with Jenny and Jordan on putting it all into Trio, getting, generating all the paperwork that needs to be signed off and all that kind of good stuff.
Okay.
I guess Sue used to do all the Trio stuff,
Yes.
so Jordan doesn't even know how, and so they're gonna both learn. I'm gonna be here, you wanted to be here, so we're gonna set it up as a workshop, just cause two of us are here. But, obviously.
So can we set the tax rate without?
Yes, so John wants us.
These figures are.
Yes. Oh, these are good. Oh, yeah,
Okay,
these are
cause
concrete.
alright, cause you said you don't have all the paperwork done yet, so it's like.
No, the paperwork for us to sign. No, these are all good, and he's already done the numbers, these are all good numbers. So John's asked us to set the tax rate tonight. If we can, I mean, if we can't, we can't, but if we can. So that basically is setting, it's more or less like setting the commitment for August 31st. So.
But we're not signing it, then.
We'll sign it, but setting the rate tonight does that, basically.
Well, yeah, okay.
Because it commits that money, you have to, the only way you have that tax rate is by having that money. So we'll sign the documents, but because he has to put it in the Trio. So, and he can't do it tomorrow. And then you got the weekend, so that's the issue. So, questions? Do you have questions? So yeah, the really big issue is I mean I feel very confident in the numbers. So he and I worked this last week. He had a big spreadsheet with a bunch of valuations that it changed, big changes, 400,000 here or 50,000 valuations, and so we narrowed those down to a short list of maybe 10 to 15. He came back, gave me some answers on those. There's a couple we weren't sure. I went out and visited. One was a property on River Road that actually has two houses on the same property. Do you know which one I'm talking about? There's a farmhouse. It's like 262 or something like that. It's in the 200 series. It was an old farmhouse close to the road. I forget their name, but they're rebuilding that. So I think they tore that down. They're building this current building right now up, and then there's another house, newer house, way out and back. But the property is big enough he can have two houses on it. And John saw two cars for two houses, so he thought one wasn't right to get rid of one. Right. And I said, actually, no. One is still valid. The other one is a building in process.
Oak Hill Road.
Yeah.
Right across the street.
It's Bailey.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bailey.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, but again, he had two houses on the property, which was confusing to. So that was.
Did you see the house in back?
I didn't get a really good look at it, but I saw there was a house back there, and I was like, "What house is that?" Because I didn't.
Right.
Where's the mailbox? Where's the?
Right.
I'm like,
A month ago, there was a house in front.
Right. So that's why.
That house in back is nice.
That's what's confusing. So we went through all of those as far as to figure out, the ones that he wasn't sure of or whatever. So that's why. So yeah, I'm good with the numbers. So the only question is whether you want to change the 116, really.
No.
If you're confident with that, then I think we can.
Okay. No, that's fine. So that would be this tax right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is the same. Yep. Yeah, which sheet are you on?
17.
Oh, you're on one. Yeah. Yep.
Well, I guess it's over here.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yep. Yeah, they're all the same. Paul?
Yeah, don't you think it'd be wise if we put a little more in the overlay?
I think we can do it. Because I don't think, again, even if, worst case this year, they did 90, this still covers that. And this was a bad year because of the waterfront. So I just don't see that. And all those values have already been corrected in Trio.
Okay,
so I
you
just
feel
don't
good
see.
with this.
I think we can do it. And I think it's
John
good.
feels good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we can do, and I think we can, I think, and it's, we can get by with keeping the tax rate the same.
Okay.
You still hemming and hawing?
No, I'm happy with it. It's, no, I don't want to overtax people, but I want to make sure we're not just close to it, you know.
Well, again, so what happens is that if it's,
Slack.
well, I mean, we can't touch that. So it's not like that's
Yeah, I
contingency
know,
money, so we
yeah.
can't really, we can't touch that if we
No.
go over budget on something else.
No.
That's only to cover abatements.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, that 90,000 also covered when they forgot to add in that additional for the county. They didn't add that, so that got covered by abatement. So, but we have that. We've added that in.
Okay,
So
That's good.
I think we can do it.
okay.
So, all right. So I make a motion. We set the tax rate for 2017 to 15.24
Per thousand.
per
right?
thousand,
I'll second
or
it.
0.01524. You
I'll
second.
second it.
All those in favor?
Yep.
It's a done deal. Okay. Yeah.
So when he comes and does all that, then she can get, have you talked to the tax bill, you know, the guy that does the
Does she do
tax-
that, or does Dale do that? Where does Dale come
She
in?
does it.
Does she does it? Okay.
Well, Sue always did it. She called,
But Dale knows who it is, right? Or Jordan knows. She's going, I don't know.
have no
She
idea.
doesn't have.
it's, oh my gosh, what are they called? Yeah, Sue always did it. She called and did the tax bill, and they figured out everything, and they'd send a proof, and then we'd
Yes,
okay
yeah,
it.
and John knows how to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
as long as in the, I'm
Yeah.
sure, yeah. So I'm sure
Yeah,
it's probably in your Rolodex somewhere,
Yeah.
and I'm sure Dale or Jordan know who it is.
Okay.
yeah. Well, Sue always did it because it's a select.
But John does this all
Yeah.
for he's done this for many towns. So
Yeah, it's
so
and we use them, and they set it and
Yep.
all that stuff, and
Okay.
send the proofs. And,
yep, exactly, yep. So, okay, that's that. All right, don't need that, don't need that. Ordinances. We're not doing these tonight, but this is homework for you guys.
Yeah, there was some things on the other one.
Okay.
The most updated one I had Acton in there. Is that
Yes, that's been changed. Yeah.
okay?
So
was
this
like-
is, I just gave you brand new ones. So those are three, so those
Get
are,
rid of this one so we don't get all mixed up. Is this got a date on it? Yes.
yeah, the solid waste one, I did put a date on it, just so I could
put a
keep,
date on
just so I
this
could
one.
keep track. The cable television ordinance is a fairly new one, so this is that one that
Who's
our
ca-
attorney,
Who's the cable? I know
MetroCat.
MetroCat. Yeah, but who's the new?
Atlantic.
Atlantic, yeah, I have it up there.
Atlantic?
Yeah, Atlantic broadband.
Is the new cable company?
Yep.
What's the name?
Atlantic. So somebody asked me, I go, geez, I don't know, we talked about that too, and I'm like, I gotta find out.
So this basically essentially allows us to enter into a franchise. This gives us that authority, which, so basically we shouldn't have done it before, but it's just, so this is really, really minor. But it also says franchise is required. So in other words, a cable company can't just come in here and try to, that doesn't tend to happen anymore because it's, but, so this is really a boilerplate. I did very, very little changes other than the town's name in here. It's pretty much just a boilerplate ordinance. So, but look at it to see if you have any issues, any changes. The solid waste disposal ordinance, I did update just last week, so I added some things. But there is a section that I need help with, which is on page 3. and I put it in bold. And you guys are yeah, I
This
did.
needs work.
Yes. Well, basically what it's talking about is having on the commercial haulers. So again, right now the commercial haulers, they don't recycle, they don't do.
Oh, yes, they do.
Do they?
Yes.
Do they pick up separately recyclables?
Yes.
Okay. That's fine. No, that's good. But this is
I
basically
didn't know that.
Yeah.
so. But that's what this section does. Is this requires them to do it? But how much? When do they? Does it? Is it monthly? Is it?
No, it's weekly.
Again, I don't. That's why I'm saying this part needed work. It was the part about requiring a commercial hauler to offer that to do recyclables. And it may be weekly. I don't.
But
So the people separate it and then he picks it up?
picks them up.
Yeah, I
he
almost
dumps
think
his garbage, he moves the truck over, and he empties the bags in a.
Oh, I didn't know that. Maybe I did know that now that you say that. But it's up to the customer if they want to recycle, right?
Well, no, he gets after them.
Well, I know, but I mean, so they have regular trash and then they have their recyclables in a different bag and then, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Not everybody's.
There's some people that go over and they don't recycle.
Yeah,
And you see it go in.
Yeah.
Right, but
okay.
it's mandating that a commercial hauler provide that service
Yeah.
so people can
Kevin's
recycle.
my son-in-law, but I mean.
No, I know that, but that's why.
No, that's good.
But I didn't know how to. But he's just one. So I mean, he may do it, but do all the others do that?
I don't know.
Well, how do we know who a commercial haul is besides him?
You don't know.
Well, that's what I was wondering. I mean, we say, well, this guy does it.
This does this.
I know one guy makes several trips. Okay, that's not coming from his house.
Does it? Yeah. So
It says any person, firm, or corporation who picks up or hauls refuse of any kind as a business or for compensation to be deposited at the transfer station.
But how are we going to know that?
You're not.
Well, one, they have to have a permit.
Okay, but if they live in town,
A permit for what?
Yeah, but it doesn't. If they still have to have a commercial hauler permit.
Yeah, but the point she's making is, how do you know?
yeah, that's what my
if
point is.
they're
I don't.
well, again, they ought to be knowing at the transfer station if somebody comes up with a truckload of 15. I mean, don't they know the people that have a huge amount of
Well,
trash?
I would think
that
so
they're dumping?
too, but I don't.
There's
that's
a
what
couple of guys that I know that they're commercial. They pick up for money. That's commercial.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's what that says: is you pick up, you get compensation.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
No, somebody that goes up and he picks up his neighbor's trash and brings it up to that, they're not a commercial hauler. But but the ones that do it for money, they're required to have a permit. They're actually required by the state, which is what this goes through as well.
Now, how much is the permit? Is it
So I think
$250? Is that the $250 that I saw somewhere? I'm gonna have to highlight this.
It might have been.
I can find it.
It might have been.
25.
No, well, that's an application fee. They might not. That's
Licensed commercial haulers.
I know. There's $250.
Yeah,
somewhere.
the application for 25, and then
It's 250 somewhere.
Yeah, it's right on the
in the number 7. In the event the board of selectmen grants a license, the applicant shall pay a permit fee of $250 for each vehicle license.
Okay.
This fee is in addition to the application fee.
Is this what is that a common
Yeah.
number or
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
I took this from like Fiverr. Yeah.
what they're gonna take that fee and he's gonna pass it on to his customers.
Okay. $250. I mean, how many customers does he have? I mean, that's.
I don't know, but I mean, no. That's how you do business, right?
Well, yeah. Well, it's his choice whether he passes it on. He doesn't have to. Dee's Diner closed because she couldn't pass on the fee. Minimum wage went up, and she didn't feel she could pass it on. That's his choice. You know, I mean, yeah, he may pass it on, but again, $250 between a whole year's worth of trash and however many people, that's not a whole lot per pickup. But yeah, that's you're right. I mean, expenses go up, he will increase his fee. Yeah. I mean, whether he does it right away or whether he does it, next year or whatever, next time he increases fees, he increases it a little bit more. What?
No, I was just, it's not that much.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you divide it weekly by 52 weeks and then, figure out how much that gets added to. It's not a whole, it's really not a lot. So, but anyway, we need to, because the point is that September 9th is the drop dead date for these, which is, well, and
It is because of the company.
Right.
But I can assure you that if we were electing people, that's not the drop dead date. But I agree, it should be. We have a
meeting that 7th, the day before that.
Yeah.
So that's my point is I would like to at least on the 7th make a motion on these to put them on the ballot.
When? In November?
No, yeah, in November.
No, I'd go in May.
Huh?
I won't vote for November, I'll go for May.
Why don't you want to do November? I'm just curious.
It's always a small crowd. May is
I know, but
May is when we do our town business.
I'm not in favor of May, so we haven't got there yet, but that's okay. Just because we're not going to have time, but that's my opinion. I agree with you. If we're going to do this, we have to advertise so people know what they're voting on, that we're doing this, because people get very upset if they think we're trying to pull a fast one. So we have to make sure that we do the newsletter or whatever to tell them what we're doing. I agree. I mean, I know what you're saying,
But we're going to have you say you don't think we should have any referendums in November?
No, not really. That's my thought.
No, and I don't disagree with you that May is a better place to put them.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that the bridge, we have the bridge part that we have to do to get, because we have to put the bridge on there, because the state needs the permission to do the new dam road bridge.
That's true.
Okay, we really ought to be amending the building code to allow third-party inspectors. Mm-hmm. That really has to happen sooner rather than later.
Yes.
Okay, we have the town forest that we're going to be putting on there. So, and then we have this cable because we got to do this franchise agreement for that. And so what I was trying to do in this solid waste with our current one is talks about these other things, and we're talking about permitting. This allows us to do that permit policy. Okay, and so that's why. That's why those 5 are for November and no more. Mass gathering, all those other ones will do, if we even do them, will be in May, June, whenever that, the town vote is. But that's my rationale. Is to try to get these, and to try to get some done now rather than having in May or June having 10 referendums on different, because that's when people get sick and tired of them all and they vote them all down. So, but some of them we have to, and so if we're going to have a ballot, we might as well get a couple of them out of the way, is my thought. But I agree, we have to advertise, and that's the newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
Will help that as well.
Yep, because we do have to do that.
Shapley had 62 referendum.
They did?
Last year, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you don't know. Maybe it'll be a bigger vote because we're voting on the casino, and the casino might go in York County, and that might spark people. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
No, I agree. I think the bigger, more contentious things should be done in May when there's people, and I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's just some stuff that if we didn't have a November vote, then I wouldn't have necessarily have done it.
Mm-mm.
But we are, so we might as well make use of it. That's kind of how I look at it, without going overboard or doing something that's too. So
read these over. You've probably already read.
So I mean, well, yeah. So
I always read.
So that's that. The other one I gave you was actually just a policy, so that's not a. But that's gone through legal and stuff. So I'd like to.
Okay.
So just kind of look through that as well.
Okay.
That we can just vote on without.
Okay.
Because it's in line with the state law.
Okay.
So that's why it can be a policy and not an ordinance.
Okay. Yep.
So, but that's got to get done before we repave the road.
Okay. Yeah.
So I can get So that's those, okay? So that's that. Speaking of newsletter, are we any further?
Yes.
We are? Oh, cool.
Yes. I have a couple columns done, and we got Dale's Clerk's Corner done.
Good.
So I'm just waiting for Burge Atkins to get their little piece in,
Okay.
and a couple other things. But
good. Why don't you?
I'm meeting with her.
Are we looking for more space? Do we need? How are we looking at?
We still
for?
have probably.
I'm just
one more column left that we can put.
because we have to have. Do you have a spot there for us to talk about referendums or something like that?
Yeah, that's already on there.
Okay. I'm just thinking, would you guys think that, the fire chief ought to have a little blurb in there?
And, like, did Dale put about the election, the polling hours, absentee ballots, when all that stuff?
I don't know if she did the hours. I know she did the dates.
Should do the hours, and she should do one,
She might have.
Well, we're gonna look at this first, right?
Yes,
Before
yeah.
well, don't worry, then.
But let chief know that we're doing a newsletter and
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Okay.
let the chief know
Taxes will
that
be
there's a little bit of
due
blurb.
October 15th, right?
Yes,
Is
she
that
does
what it
have
is?
that.
Yeah, good. Okay, yep.
So, all right, good. We're getting there. Okay, this is all fun stuff now. I think. Barbecue. Where are we at with that? We got a few people back that
We do,
responded.
yes.
So what do we got?
The
How
list
many we got? Well,
in
just
my office. I think it's
Just ballpark.
I want to say at least 15.
did you count us
Yes.
with the guest? Because we have to bring a guest.
Yes, with
To
your
up the
guess.
numbers.
That's 240. Well, we're 6.
Yeah.
No, 5.
You're not bringing a guest?
You could bring Teresa. She'd love to come. He's bringing a guest.
Yes.
He's bringing a guest. She would love to play croquet with you and beat you. Okay.
Yeah, I'd say probably about.
Well, we have
15, 20,
all 4 guys from the transfer station are coming
Yes.
No,
3.
3 of them.
with guests.
Yes, that's 6.
So that's 6 there,
So we're at
and we have
11.
6 here. So
We're at
that's 12.
11. Are you coming?
I don't know yet. I have a wedding to go to the day before,
12.
and it's in Mass, so I don't know what time we're coming back the next time.
Dave, don't forget, tell your
But
wife.
probably.
Just tell me how many potatoes she wants.
Yep.
All right, so that's now we're up to.
And we do have
13.
some fire rescue guys. Some that will stop in. Some that are.
Yep, I got a couple maybes too. So.
There's a couple of maybes.
And I still haven't heard. There's 4 that I'm still waiting to hear from.
Jordan?
Yeah,
Julia?
Jordan, yeah.
So maybe she should send just a
How about,
last minute blurb.
How about Catherine?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Gail's coming, right?
Gail's coming.
With a guest.
No,
You
I
don't?
think she's coming by herself.
Okay.
I
That's
don't-
all
I
that you know
haven't
from
heard
here,
about
right?
Rebecca
Okay.
yet.
She wants to play croquet.
Marcy coming?
I haven't heard from Marcy either. I'm gonna do
Yeah,
one
I
more.
would do
There's like
another
4,
blurb.
yeah.
Yeah, just
Okay. So we're probably up to 20 or so, anyways.
Yeah, I'd say about 20.
that's good.
It's okay. So, all right.
All right.
This is
Okay, you got a plan?
When is this? Huh?
You got a plan what we're gonna do?
No, I don't. You got to figure out
We're gonna have hamburgers, hot dogs,
Yeah.
And
potato
salads.
salad.
Yeah.
Let me just pull out my little. I had it here. I know I have it in here.
How was the FEMA meeting?
What?
The FEMA meeting?
Kind of boring. I mean, it wasn't that long.
Oh, I got quite a bit out of it.
Did you?
Paul got
Alright.
stuff out of it.
No, it was, the way they laid it out, it was very good.
Yeah.
So.
Did
Nobody-
anyone go, like the planning board or CEO?
You mean from town?
No,
Just 2 of us.
just 2 of us. The 2 important ones.
I guess so.
Lone Ranger.
Okay.
Yeah, no, our floodplain manager did not attend.
Okay.
I didn't even know we had one until, but anyways. So yeah, so I got menu, burgers, hot dogs, buns, potato salad, pasta salad. So we're to do both?
Well, what about macaroni salad? Is that what you mean?
Well, yeah, you have
What
pasta
do
or curly pasta, whatever, yeah. So normally like with an Italian type of
Oh, well, that's different than macaroni
yeah, that's
salad.
different. That macaroni, yeah. Well, the mayonnaise is yeah, you could do the, or do we do macaroni salad?
I don't know.
And then chips and drinks.
Mhm.
That's, you know.
We ought to have cheese.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Good. Yep.
Oh, you're always.
Thank you. He's on it. Games, I have croquette down, so.
I have bocce ball.
I think I have bocce balls.
Oh, good.
So, all right. What kind of burgers are we gonna do? Are we just doing like market basket frozen burgers? Are we doing quarter pound? We're doing BJ's and
BJ's
grabbing.
has, you can get like 40 frozen burgers for, I think it's like $30. That's what we get for baseball, so that's how I know.
Yep. Yeah, my wife's got a membership to BJ's too.
Yeah, so, you know, it doesn't matter, whatever. If we
Okay.
get 20 people, I think 40 burgers is enough. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
When do you want the money?
Let's just figure out where.
Yeah.
We'll figure out what we're done with.
After or?
Well,
Yeah.
we gotta figure it out first.
Yeah, we gotta figure it out first, then we'll just figure out.
Yeah.
We'll square up
See, Paul,
afterwards.
you saved all your money, so you're good. As you always remind me.
Hot dogs are.
Well, it
Again,
depends.
BJ's grab a thing.
Try
hot
to
dogs.
get it out of me though.
We're gonna try.
We're close.
We can get most of it out of there.
Yeah.
So the potato salad we're gonna make.
Yeah, we can make macaroni or pasta.
Do you want to do macaroni or pasta?
It doesn't matter.
I was just thinking that the potato salad has the man. Do you prefer mayonnaise or Miracle Whip?
Mayonnaise.
Okay, thank you. That's what I like.
Mayonnaise.
Yeah, that's what I'm okay. I agree.
Now, I'll cook potatoes. I'll dice up some onions.
Oh, jeez, he's going right to
A
town.
potato salad. Now you want me to buy 3 peppers, red, green, and orange. Dice them up just for color.
Oh my gosh, Paul. Wouldn't that add a little bit of splash to it? Yeah, color. There you
Color.
go. Yeah.
You eat with your rice.
Get some jalapenos in there.
Not jalapenos. That's right, Paul. You're good. You're the top chef here.
She's putting it together though.
And then pasta salad would be basically that would be more the Italian type dressing kind of. That way it's not.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. Chips, we can just do a couple of bags of chips. I mean, that's not a right. I mean, and drinks. Or do we want to do?
I do
as far as
water.
Water, I have
especially.
water down. Right. Do we want to do like sodas, like Pepsi, Coke type of thing, or?
Probably people like that. Either Pepsi and a diet, and then something with no caffeine in it. Probably that's a thought.
Right. That's water.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right. All right. I may have my wife scope down with that's fine. All right. We're good.
Yep.
Did we figure out dessert?
Well, we could get a cake or something, don't you think?
I mean, I think dessert's important.
It is. You know, like thank you or have something written on it.
Well, I mean, they do have freezers. We don't want to do ice cream, or do we want to do like a sheet cake?
I think we should. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, get a sheet cake.
You can get a sheet cake made.
We don't need a freezer or ice to.
Yeah.
Oh, God, Paul, you're thinking. You're always thinking.
Okay.
He's into this.
And then we need some condiments.
Yeah, that's fine.
Condiments is ketchup,
Mustard,
relish.
And we need paper goods.
Napkins won't work.
I think so. Maybe a salad. If you're just doing a burger, maybe, or a hot dog, but.
Paper goods. Okay. Big trip to BJ's. All right.
Sure.
All right. That's good. So to start, that is, when was that coming up? That's coming up, right?
The
That's 10th,
17th.
right?
No, the 10th is the
Oh, 10th is
softball.
softball, cause we have more,
17th.
we have more time on that, right?
Yeah.
So that's
The
the
18th
next one's on, I think, softball. We don't have anybody as RSVP yet,
Mm.
so I think we need to actively do some recruiting rather than
For our team?
for our team, yeah. I'm not worried about Chris's team, I'm worried
No.
about our team.
No.
So
All
who do
right.
we know that knows how to?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll see.
Noah would be good, right? We can ask Noah
Noah?
Tetrol. Do you know him? You
He's
don't.
big.
Yeah. He's gotta be able to swing a bat. Who else do we know? You're playing, right? We just gotta get a pitch runner for you at first.
I don't know, cause I have to have my, thing next Friday. Lasers.
Oh.
If they tell me I'm okay, I'm okay.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, you're just doing laser. You already had the cataract.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking, oh, not good. Well, can you put another blurb out there? And I'll try to get some people.
Jordan should be able to play.
Of course he could.
He's young and dynamic.
Absolutely, young and dynamic.
Doesn't he know a bunch of the other young people here in town they could round up?
Are you gonna play?
No, I'm not very good. So.
It doesn't matter. We
That's
just
what I
need
told
to
her.
Fill a spot.
And I
That's
told
what
her
we are, filling the spot.
I told her to bring her significant other. I bet you he
Yes.
plays.
He would play. I know he would.
Okay, so there's two.
See? You're committed now.
I know. I guess so.
I got it on tape.
Excellent. Okay, so we gotta get on that.
Yeah, because that's coming up sooner than the.
Yes, next Sunday. Well, a week from Sunday, yeah. Okay.
So
well, we gotta
actively think,
we have to
actively recruit.
Yep,
So
okay.
tell you guys at the transfer station, they can play, but if they see anybody coming up that looks like they can swing a bat,
Let them have it, yeah. Yeah. Okay,
tell them we need help.
yeah,
We need a lot of help.
yeah, we do.
I think that's all I got. Do you have
And well,
anything?
yeah, I do. Chris and I kind of talked about charging everybody $10 a player
Yep.
to play, so
Yep.
that we
Yep.
get money for
Yep.
the.
Yep.
So you gotta pay to play.
You gotta pay to play. Pay to play, yep.
Hey, you do it. Yes, I do have something. I spoke to Tommy about rust proofing the truck.
Okay.
It's $700 to rust proof, then $100 a year to have it serviced, and it's a guaranteed 10 years for rust proofing. I have his text here, so
$100 a year for what?
like maintenance of
Is that dealership type of stuff?
yeah. So you have to. All right. What do you call it? Z-barding the truck. It's $700 to do it and $100 a year for once a year service. They guarantee it for 10 years. Let me know if you guys want to do it so I can tell where's.
I think that's a good idea.
Well, I do
Well,
too.
especially if you got a sand
Yeah.
sand and salt
So-
truck. That's
Yeah. So that's what
yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
I
Yeah.
think it's the same. If you Z-bought your car, you have to go every year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we want to do we want to make a motion for the 700 to come out of the capital improvement fund?
Yeah.
The
to go
100
with
the 100 we could put in the budget.
Yeah.
It comes out of the truck fund, right?
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
the capital improvement,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
But it's not included really in the quote, so it's
No,
just,
it's extra.
Okay.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
so make a motion to
You got
add Z-Bart rust proofing to the truck for
700.
approximately $700
Yep. I'll second it.
for the
The $100
initial-
he can pull it.
the
Yeah.
in his
the
budget.
annual
Well, it
stuff
won't be until-
the annual
yeah.
stuff we'll put on the budget.
Yeah.
Yep. You second, all those in
Yeah.
favor? All right.
Okay, good.
Okie dokie.
I gotta write things down or I forget them. Okay. I'll text them. Yep, I'm
That's all you
good.
had?
Yep.
That's it?
Well, I had other things, but we've kind of covered them, so.
Okay.
A commitment,
You sure?
this, that, yeah.
You want a
FEMA.
motion?
No, we gotta have public input.
Yeah, no, you have anything else other than a motion?
Yeah.
All right, any questions from the public? Yes, sir.
Dana Kewell. You were talking about ordinances, I believe, and on the cable, is that a 3-year or 10-year
Is what?
contract?
Is the ordinance is not a contract.
Okay. But is there term involved in there?
In the ordinance?
Yes.
So the ordinance would allow a franchise contract to be up to 10 years.
So it would override the old ordinance, which only allows for 3-year contract?
We can't go over 3 years.
Nope, there's an ordinance that says that the selectmen cannot enter a contract for longer than 3 years.
Right.
Agreed with that. Okay, and that was intended for mowing contracts, different types of normal contracts, okay? It came up this past year when they had to renew the franchise agreement. There was a big question, is the franchise considered a contract or is it a franchise or whatever? So that was actually a big question. They stayed with a contract, which so therefore they made it under 3 years, okay? But the standard blurb, which is this cable franchise ordinance, which most other towns have, we don't. Okay, some of them actually go out to 15 years for this. I did not. The newer ones go out to 15. I kept it at 10. So this would give us permission for that franchise only to be up to 10.
Not other contracts.
Not other contracts. This is purely cable. It's purely dealing with a franchise for the cable.
But that would lock us into only one company, despite technological upgrades by others.
No, it does not.
For 10 years?
Wrong.
So what does that do for 10 years? I think that's what I'm curious about, is what does that, why is there a 10-year term if it doesn't want
It's up to 10 years. It's a franchise because a cable company, before they want to invest in your town, they need to know that they're gonna be there for a long term.
Right.
Okay, well I would.
Makes sense.
So that's what it does. It does not say that they are solely for the town. You could have
so
another.
other cable companies are allowed in that?
Yes.
Oh, because.
And we could also break it. It doesn't.
Nope.
So.
Interesting.
So yeah, I mean, and you'll see it, but it's a standard blurb that, you know, our attorneys advise us that we should have. That you're really supposed to have before you have a franchise. You're supposed to have this ordinance. So we never did, but most towns do.
I'm surprised that we never had.
So that's why we're throwing it in here on November, is to get it in there, because then if that passes, then we can do this
In December,
change,
right?
Atlantic, before the time runs out.
Right.
Yep. So. Alright.
And was the cemetery committee brought back to the table again?
Today?
Yes.
No.
Either today or?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. That was gonna be postponed on the voting?
You had said that we were gonna revisit it when Laura came back.
Yep. Yeah, we can. I mean, so, last week it was raised that Dana would like to be on the cemetery committee. There was a question regarding if we turn those committee members into trustees down the road. Remember how I mentioned we were maybe hoping to go to some sort of a trustee?
Mm-hmm.
How that would play out, and I said, well, it won't be, that will be its own separate issue. Just because you're a cemetery committee member does not mean that you become
Absolutely.
that has its own separate rules, so
I agree.
there's no issue with whoever's that they're gonna be part of a trustee. So I felt that, especially for the cemetery committees, I feel totally different for other committees, but cemetery committee, if somebody wanted to help out the town with the committee and researching cemeteries and taking care of cemeteries.
That was Tommy.
And doing that kind of stuff, that it didn't really, I quite frankly, I personally didn't care whether they were even a resident, taxpayer. It didn't really, I mean, if they want to spend their time and energy helping us out with our cemeteries, they're not making a vote, they're not doing, so that's why, and so I made it, so even though Dana is not a resident, Some will say he's a taxpayer, some will say he's not, because if you look at the official tax books, it's not his name, even though he may pay them. So so that question came up. So I made a motion to appoint him. Paul did not want to second that motion. And Paul didn't want to second it because he's not a resident. And that's his prerogative. He wants committee members to be only covered by residents. So I felt for this particular committee, I felt differently, so that's where it stayed.
Okay.
So again, it's I can see both sides, and so
right.
I'm okay with that. I just
does that
for budget committee, I would say no, you have to be a resident.
Well, I think it says that in the ordinance.
And there may be
well, that would be my only concern. That are we starting a precedent? Are we?
And you may be right. You may be.
How can we deny anyone else? If we allow one, then we'd have to allow, in my opinion, everyone. You couldn't say no to anybody, and then I don't want us to refuse residents if we have residents that want to fill the position if, for non-residents. And it's nothing against him or any non-resident. If they want to help, it's great they want to help.
Right.
But if we do this, then I feel that you can't refuse anyone. For committees that legally don't have to be, there are some things in law that say so-and-so you have to be a whatever, a main resident and whatever. So, but other committees, other things, and the cemetery committee, I'm sure isn't, there's nothing in law about that. So if we do it, then we do it. We can't pick and choose who we let in and who we don't.
We always do.
What?
We always.
We
get to a point. If I didn't think he was competent, or if I thought he had a personal agenda, even if he was a resident, I probably wouldn't vote for him. And again, even if it's a resident, if I don't think they're doing it for the right reasons,
right? That's my only concern.
I hear you.
If he wants to help, that's wonderful. I
don't disagree. I don't disagree with what you're saying. So I don't.
So that's my only thought. The more the merrier.
You're gonna have the fire department that live out of town.
Well, I know that, and I'm just saying the cemetery committee. It's
a committee.
It is a committee, but I don't really have anything against him doing that. I just so I really don't care. Did he fill out a paper?
I don't know if he did.
Okay.
I think he was gonna do one after the fact, but it never got to after the fact. So
that's how I feel about that. So.
Who was first?
I'm the chicken, he's the egg, you pick.
She's still holding it up, so
yeah, I'm tireder than he is. So, Deborah Wilson, Lebanon resident. My question is this: if they're not on the tax books, they could rent.
Absolutely.
A renter could be here. Just because he's not on the tax bill doesn't not mean he doesn't live here.
No, but a renter is a resident.
Yeah.
That's what
to me, a resident is someone a voter.
He's got a Massachusetts car.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a Massachusetts car. Does that stop him from cleaning a cemetery?
No. It's not.
So it's not about that.
Here's my question. Here's what I wanted to say anyway. Is that as far as the cemetery committee goes, we tried to establish a cemetery committee about a year ago, a little over a year ago. We had 4 members of Lebanon interested in Dana. And out of the 4 members from Lebanon, we all worked pretty hard. And I'm telling you, he was never late. He was right beside us. He was the tool man. None of us, there were 4 ladies, and none of us ever had to pick up a snipper, a shovel, a brush. He was right there, carried it all in his car. It was all his equipment. The town provided nothing, and without him, we wouldn't have been able to clean the few that we did manage to get. So I'm a little appalled that in something like this where it's a work thing with no budget and no known bylaws so far, I'm a little appalled that somebody that works so hard would, and you know he lives here in town. He has to keep his residency because he owns property elsewhere. But you know he lives in town. Everybody knows he lives in town, and he's never missed a selectmen's meeting that I know of either. So I'm just saying, if you want to deny him because he's not a resident, you're denying all the tools and a lot of knowledge that he's put into this committee over the past couple of years. That's my vote for him as a resident.
Gina?
I would not expect, as a member, to be involved in voting on financial matters. In that case, I would think that I would abstain.
And it's not about that anyway, I just
Yes.
brought up a point, that's all.
No,
It's nothing against you or your work you've done, I nothing about that.
Yep.
So,
You were on the cemetery committee before?
Yes, I would.
Yes.
So the previous board appointed you to the cemetery committee?
Correct.
I didn't know he was on the cemetery committee.
He's one of the ones that signed it. It was Ben and Royce and Paul.
No, I didn't know.
Just, yeah.
So that precedent's already been setting that you were.
well, no, but do you see what I mean?
No, I know that.
It's nothing about him or any, it's just, you know, I just, that's all. It's nothing about
And I
that.
understand Paul's side. I mean, because quite frankly, you get people that can misconstrue it and say that we're appointing people that are not residents to our committees.
Absolutely.
And they don't tell you which committee they're talking about and that it's a,
whatever.
you know, so I mean, I'm
People
just.
say what people
Yeah.
say,
No,
I'm
no,
not
so-
about that.
I hear you, so I don't,
They say quite a bit about me, trust me.
I've been on that thing, so I
So-
get that too.
So I guess I don't know where you want, I don't know if you wanna think about it, I don't know if anybody wants to make a motion, or if you just wanna just leave it as it is,
Well, did he fill out a paper? Isn't that the point? We get to that point that you gotta fill out a paper, haven't we gone through this already?
that's fine,
Let's fill out the paper.
Alright, so Dana, if you would still,
If you wouldn't mind, fill out the paper.
if you're still interested, if you could get a form from Jenny and fill it out,
Chipper form.
and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah,
I believe that a precedent has already been made in regard to a person who did not make out a application.
So a precedent may have been set, but I would say that per what Deborah Dory Milson says, precedents aren't set unless they're in court, and we haven't been in court. So a precedent hasn't been set.
Did you
So
did you fill an application last year?
well, you didn't know.
Yes, I did.
Yes, he did.
Appointed.
He filled out the
I still
application
filled.
last year. Well, it
And we
actually was a
okayed it.
little longer than a year ago, cause it was Ben and Paul and Royce.
probably a year
that
and a half, 2 years ago.
were sitting. About a year and a half, yeah. Ben was still in office when it was.
That's fine, so
Okay.
we'll have him fill out a form and then we'll take it from there.
Absolutely.
Okay, any other questions?
Thank you,
Oh, look
Jenny.
how fast she is. She's like magic, that one.
She is.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's get out.
I'm waiting.
You got it.
All those in favor?
Can we look, for special amusement trains? Cause that, I think, comes up in October. If you can just, cause we'll have to do
A
something.
board can only establish a policy. A court establishes a precedent.
Yeah,
Let's
I
go.
think it's in October.
I thought it was
think
a
it's
perfect
nice and
opportunity, thank
It was perfect.
you. Because you couldn't say a damn thing.
I had nothing to say anymore. I just, forget it.
all I had, I
It's
was-
not important.
Special amusement trains.
Oops, we'll say that.
I was wondering if you can shut it off.
I didn't swear.